guarantees. The federal government wanted to avoid conflict before actual armed disputes broke out over water rights. So the deal was signed anyway, and Lake Mead became the buffer for a mathematical lie. For decades, the system appeared to work. Hoover Dam, completed during the Great Depression, captured enormous volumes of water during wet years and released it during dry years. Cities expanded, farms multiplied, population exploded across the Southwest. Las Vegas grew from a railroad stop to the city nearly 3 million people. Phoenix became the fifth largest city in America.
The Columbia Network takes pride in presenting Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in the third broadcast of a unique new series dramatizing famous narratives by great authors. This is the first time that a complete theatrical producing company has been brought to radio, and the Columbia Network again welcomes Mr. Welles and his associates to its own stations and to the stations of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation coast to coast. Every week, Orson Welles invites our listeners to suggest their favorite title. And tonight, at your request, the Mercury Theater on the air presents The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Orson Welles as Dr. Manette and Sidney Fox. A Tale of Two Cities. The Columbia Network takes pride in presenting Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in the third broadcast of a unique new series dramatizing famous narratives by great authors. This is the first time that a complete theatrical producing company has been brought to radio, and the Columbia Network again welcomes Mr. Welles and his associates to its own stations and to the stations of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation coast to coast. Every week, Orson Welles invites our listeners to suggest their favorite titles. And tonight, at your request, the Mercury Theater on the air presents A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, with Orson Welles as Dr. Manette and Sidney Carton. A Tale of Two Cities.
Paris, 1767. I, Alexander Manette, unfortunate physician, write this melancholy paper in my doleful cell in the Bastille. Hope has quite departed from my breast. I write these words with a rusty iron point, dipped in scrapings of soot and charcoal from the chimney, mixed with blood. One cloudy night, 10 years ago, I was walking along the quay by the river.
Dr. Manette. Dr. Manette.
That is my name.
Dr. Manette, formerly of Beauvais.
I am that Dr. Manette.
Will you please to enter the carriage, Dr. Manette?
Gentlemen, pardon me, but I usually inquire who does me the honor to seek my assistance.
Doctor, your clients are people of condition. Enough. Will you please to enter the carriage?
They were armed, and I was not. I got in silence. We left the streets behind, through the North Barrier, onto a country road, and presently stopped at a solitary house. I saw that the two men were brothers. In an upper room, I found a patient in a high fever of the brain lying on a bed. She was a woman of great beauty and young, certainly not past 20. Her hair was torn and ragged, and her arms were bound to her side.
My husband, my father, my brother. 1, 2, 3.
How long has she
4.
lasted?
It's about this hour last night.
She has a husband, a father, and a brother?
A brother.
You are not her brother?
I am not.
My brother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There is another patient. You had better see. Come.
7, 8.
In a back room on some hay on the ground lay a handsome boy of not more than 17. His wound was a sword thrust, received from 20 to 24 hours before. He was dying fast. How was this done, monsieur?
Crazed young common dog, a peasant, forced my brother to draw on him, and has fallen by my brother's sword, almost like a gentleman.
The boy's eyes moved slowly towards me.
Have you seen her, Doctor?
I have seen her.
She is my sister, Doctor. She was a good girl, married to a good young man, too. One of his tenants. We are all tenants of his. But the Marquis of Saint-Ambremont saw her, and what do you think they did? He and his brother. You know, Doctor, that is among the rights of these nobles to harness us common dogs to carts and drive us. They so harnessed my sister's husband and drove him all day, and all night kept him on the grounds in the unwholesome nights, quieting the frogs so that their noble sleep might not be disturbed. And then back in the harness in the day. Taken out of harness one day at noon to feed, if he could find food. He sobbed 12 times, once for every stroke of the bell, and died on her bosom. And then, when her husband was dead, that man took her away. I saw her pass on the road. I tracked him here, and last night I climbed in. A common dog, but a sword in my hand. I made him draw and fight with me. Common dog though I am. Where is he?
He is not here.
Marquis of Saint-Ambremont. In the days when all these things are to be answered for, I summon you and yours to the last of your bad race to answer for them. I mark this cross of blood upon you as a sign that I do it.
He put his hand to the wound in his breast, and with his forefinger drew a cross in the air. He stood for an instant with a finger yet raised, and as it dropped, he dropped with it, and I laid him down, dead.
My father, my brother.
I
1,
returned to
2,
the bedside of the girl.
4.
The sound of her voice never ceased. She lingered on, for a week. Then, on the 8th day...
Last year's dead?
She is dead.
I congratulate you, my brother.
5 nights later, toward 9 o'clock, a man in a black dress rang at my gate, demanded to see me, and softly followed my servant, Ernest Defarge, upstairs, into the room where I sat with my young wife.
An urgent case, Doctor. Won't detain you long. I have a coach waiting.
When I was clear of the house, a black muffler was drawn tightly over my mouth from behind, and my arms were pinioned. The two brothers crossed the road from a dark corner and identified me. Not a word was spoken. That coach brought me here to the Bastille. It brought me to my grave. If it had pleased God to put it in the hard heart of either of the brothers, in all these frightful years, to grant me any tidings of my dearest wife and my child, so much as to let me know by a word whether they are alive or dead, I might have thought that he had not quite abandoned them. But now I believe that the mark of the Red Cross is fatal to them, and that they have no part in his mercies. And them, and their descendants, to the last of their race, I, Alexandre Manette, unhappy prisoner, do, this last night of the year 1767, in my unbearable agony, denounce them to heaven and to earth.
The words are written in scrapings of soot mixed with blood on scraps of crumbling paper. There they lie, hidden away in the solid stone, year after year. Now in the North Tower, cell number 105 is heard all day, a low, hammering sound. The sound of an old man making shoes in the dark. One day, after 18 years, the sound stops, and for a while, North Tower cell number 105 is empty. My name is Jarvis Lorry. Most of the characters in this history are people whom I first encountered in the course of business on behalf of Tellson's Bank, London and Paris, of which I have been for many years a partner. This is a history of events that took place in London and across the Channel in France in the terrible years immediately preceding and during the Great French Revolution. 1785, the Dover Road.
What o'clock do you make it, Joe? 10 minutes good past 11. My blood, and the Dover coach not atop a shooter's hill yet. Hey, Joe.
What do you say, Tom?
I see an horse at a canter coming up, Joe.
I see a horse at a gallop, Tom.
Gentlemen, in the king's name, all of you.
Hello! You there! Stand the right fire!
Is that the Dover mail?
Never you mind what it is. What are you?
Is that the Dover mail?
What do you want to know?
I want a passenger if it is.
What passenger?
Mr. Jarvis Lorry.
Gentleman of the name of Lorry. Answer straight.
Yes, what is it? Does somebody want me?
Mr. Lorry,
What's the matter?
a dispatch sent after you from over yonder. Kelson and Company.
You can come close, guard. There's nothing wrong.
I hope there ain't. Hey, you! Come in at a foot face.
Let's have the dispatch. Here it is, Mr. Lorry.
Thank you. Guard, there's nothing to be afraid of. I belong to Tellson's Bank in London. I'm going to Paris on business. May I read this?
If so be as you're quick, sir.
Wait for Miss Manette at Dover. You see, guard, it's not long.
Messenger. Yes, sir.
Take back my answer to London. Here it is. Recalled to life.
Recalled to life? Yes, Mr. Lorry.
Good night.
Tom,
Hello, Joe.
did you hear that message?
I did, Joe.
What did you make of it, Tom?
Nothing at all, Joe.
Well, that's a coincidence, too. Well, that's just what I made of it myself.
This way to the galley packet. This way to the galley packet. We sail with the tide, ladies and gentlemen. All aboard for Calais.
Glad to have you with us again, Mr. Lorry.
I'm expecting a young lady aboard, a Miss Manette. She may ask for Mr. Jarvis Lorry, or she may ask for a gentleman from Tellson's Bank. But when she comes, will you show her to my cabin?
Very good, sir.
We sail with the tide, ladies and gentlemen. All aboard for Calais!
Miss Manette? Sit down, if you please.
Thank you.
Miss Manette, it's very difficult to begin. Miss Manette, I'm a man of business. I have a business charge to acquit myself of. The story relates to one of our customers.
Story?
Yes. One of our customers, a French gentleman, a scientific gentleman, a doctor.
A doctor?
Miss Manette, if your father had not died when he did, don't be frightened, miss. As I was saying, if Monsieur Manette had not died, if he had suddenly and silently disappeared, if he had been spirited away to some dreadful place, then the history of your father would have been the history of this unfortunate gentleman, the Doctor of Beauvais.
I entreat you to tell me more, sir.
I will, I'm going to. Can you bear it?
I can bear anything but this uncertainty.
Miss Manette, your father has been found in the house of an old servant in Paris. We're going there. He is alive. In the quarter of Saint-Antoine, in a narrow, mean street full of offense and stench, peopled by rags and nightcaps and hunger, smelling of rags and nightcaps and hunger, we found the wine shop of Dr. Manette's old servant, Ernest Defarge. His wife sat in the shop behind the counter as we came in. A stout woman wrapped in fur. She was knitting. Ernest Defarge?
That's me.
May we have a word with you?
Willingly, sir.
My name is Jarvis Lorry of London. This is Miss Manette.
Come with me, then. I'll take you to him. He's very high. It's a little difficult. Better to begin slowly.
Is he always alone, then?
Yes,
His own desire?
of necessity.
He is greatly changed?
Changed? Huh.
The door's locked.
Yes.
You think it necessary to keep him locked up?
I think it necessary to turn the key.
Why?
Why? Because he has lived so long locked up that he'd be frightened, rave, tear himself to pieces, die. His door was left open.
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Yes, it is possible in this fine world we live in. Not only possible, but done. Done, see you, under that sky there every day. It will continue being done until the last of that accursed race has perished from the face of the earth.
Quiet. Let us go in.
I'm afraid of it.
Of it? What?
I mean of him, my father. Listen. What is that sound?
Faintly, through the dark, with his back toward the door, we saw a white-haired man sitting on a low bench, stooping forward. Very busy, making shoes.
Father.
Good day, Manette.
Good day.
Still hard at work, I see.
Yes. Yes, I'm working.
I want to let in a little more light here. You can bear a little more?
Well, what did you say?
You can bear a little more light?
I must bear it. If you let it in.
You have a visitor, Manette.
What did you say?
Here is a visitor. Show him the shoe you're working at. Take it, monsieur. Now tell monsieur the maker's name.
I forget what it was you asked me.
The maker's name.
Did you ask me for my name?
Yes, I did.
105 North Tower.
Is that all?
105 North Tower.
At that moment, his eyes caught the skirt of Lucy's dress. He raised them and saw her face.
What is this? You're not the jailer's daughter.
No.
Who are you? Who are you?
She sat down on the bench beside him. Her golden hair, which she wore in long curls, had been hurriedly pushed aside and fell down over her neck. Advancing his hand, little by little, he took it up and looked at it.
It is the same. How can it be? When was it? She laid her head upon my shoulder that night when I was summoned out. She had a fear of my going. Or was this? Was it you? Was it you? No, you're too young. It can't be. Can't be. You're too young, too young, too young.
Father.
Mr. Lorry, Dr. Manette is, for all reasons, best out of Paris. Best out of France.
The next morning, we left for London. As we drove off, we left Monsieur and Madame Defarge standing on the doorstep looking after us. There was that same look of secret, dangerous anger in their faces that I had seen before. Madame Defarge was still knitting. The next night we were in Calais. There we boarded the packet and after a rough voyage reached England in safety. I was to be reminded of that voyage. 5 years later, a trial was held at the Old Bailey at which I was summoned to appear in company with Miss Lucy Manette and Dr. Alexander Manette, all three of us, as witnesses for the Crown.
Lordship exact.
What's coming now?
The treason case.
The quartering one.
He'll be drawn on an early will. He'll be off egg. Then he'll be taken down and sliced before his own face. Then his head will be chopped off and he'll be cut in quarters. That's the sentence.
If he's found guilty, you mean?
Oh, they'll find him guilty. Don't be afraid of that.
The prisoner was brought in. A young gentleman of about 25, well-grown and well-looking. He was very pale. For a moment his eyes turned to where we sat. Then the indictment was read.
Charles Darnay, you're a false traitor to our serene, illustrious, excellent Prince, our Lord the King, by reason of your having on divers occasions, by divers means and ways, assisted Louis the French King in his wars against our serene, illustrious, excellent Prince King George. That is to say, by coming and going between the dominions of our said serene, illustrious, excellent Prince, knows the said French Louis, and wickedly, falsely, treacherously.
Prisoner, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
I shall now prove, my lord, to the satisfaction of yourself in this jury, that the prisoner Charles Darnay, though young in years, is old in these treasonable practices, which today claim forfeit of his life. That this correspondence with our national enemy is not a correspondence of today, nor of yesterday, nor even of last year or the year before that. That as long as 5 years ago...
First witness for the Crown, Mr. Jarvis Lorry.
Jarvis Lorry. Mr. Lorry, are you a partner of Tellson's Bank?
I am.
On a certain night in November, 1775, did business occasion you to travel between Calais and Dover by the packet ship?
It did.
Mr. Lorry, look upon the prisoner. Have you seen him to your certain knowledge before?
I have.
When?
At Calais that night, the prisoner came aboard the packet and made the voyage with me.
At what hour did he come aboard?
A little after midnight.
In the dead of night, eh? Were you traveling alone, Mr. Lorry, or with any companion?
With two companions, a gentleman and a lady. They're here.
They're here!
Next witness, Miss Manette.
Miss Manette! Miss Manette, look upon the prisoner, Charles Darnay. Miss Manette, have you seen the prisoner before?
Yes, sir.
Where?
On board the packet ship just referred to, sir.
You are the young lady just referred to?
Most unhappily, I am.
Answer the questions put to you.
Miss Manette, had you any conversation with the prisoner?
Yes, sir.
Recall it.
When the gentleman came aboard...
You mean the prisoner?
Yes, my lord.
Then say the prisoner.
When the prisoner came on board...
Did he come on board alone?
No.
How many were with him?
One, a French gentleman.
Did they confer together?
Yes, they seemed angry. I thought I heard the prisoner say, there was a curse on our house. You have brought a curse on our house.
Miss Manette, the court is not interested in what you think you overheard. What conversation did you have with the prisoner?
Soon after we started, he noticed that my father was very tired, and in a very weak state of health. The prisoner was very kind and useful to my father. I hope I may not repay him by doing him harm today.
The prisoner's conversation, Miss Minette. What did the prisoner say to you?
He told me that he was traveling on business of a delicate and difficult nature, which might get people into trouble, and that he was therefore traveling under an assumed name. He said that in England my father...
Alexander Minette!
Dr. Alexander Minette!
Dr. Minette! Dr. Minette, look upon the prisoner.
As the old man looked at Darnay, his face for an instant became frozen, as it were. It was a curious look, very intent, deepening into a frown of dislike and distrust, not even unmixed with fear. It passed so quickly that few could have noticed it.
Dr. Minette, have you ever seen this prisoner before?
Once when he called on us at my lodgings some 3 years ago.
Can you identify him as your fellow passenger aboard the packet ship, or recall his conversation with your daughter?
Sir, I can do neither.
Is there any particular and special reason for your being unable to do either?
There is.
Has it been your misfortune to undergo a long imprisonment without trial in your native country, Dr. Minette?
A long imprisonment.
Were you newly released on that occasion?
They tell me so.
Have you no remembrance of the occasion?
None. My mind is a blank. From some time, I cannot even say what time, when I was employed in making shoes. That was in my captivity to... Excuse me, sir, to the time when I found myself living in London with my dear daughter here. I have no remembrance, no remembrance.
Next witness! Next witness! Next witness! Next witness!
Now things began to look black for the prisoner. The prosecution held that previous to that Friday night in November 5 years ago, Charles Darnay had visited a dockyard town on the south coast of England, and there collected information which he later delivered to the French authorities in Calais. In proof of this, the star witness, who had every appearance of being himself a paid spy, now took the stand and identified Charles Darnay as having been at the precise time required in the coffee room of a hotel in that dockyard town, waiting for another person. On this point, counsel for the prisoner tried in vain to shake him.
And that is the only time you ever saw this prisoner?
Yes, Your Honor.
You never saw him before or since?
No, Your Honor. No.
Now, a curious thing happened. A gentleman who had been sitting off by himself all this time, staring up at the ceiling of the court, suddenly came to life, removed his wig, wrote a word or two on a little piece of paper, and tossed it to the prisoner's counsel, who opened it, and then looked with great attention and curiosity at the prisoner.
You say again you are quite sure that it was the prisoner?
Oh, quite sure, Your Honor.
Did you ever see anybody very like the prisoner?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
Do you think there could be anybody so like the prisoner that you could be mistaken?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
But if there were, you would then admit that you might have been mistaken.
Huh? Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Look upon Mr. Sidney Carton, my learned friend there, without his wig, and then look well upon the prisoner. How say you? Are they not very like each other?
God, like as two peas in a pod. Two peas. It ain't natural.
Gentlemen of the jury, do you find the prisoner Charles Darnay guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty!
The lights were nearly all out in the passages as I left the court with the prisoner, Charles Darnay. There, leaning against the wall in the dark, stood Sidney Carton. There was wine on his breath.
Oh, Mr. Lorry. Men of business may speak to Mr. Darnay now.
Sir, we men of business are not free.
I know. Don't be upset, Mr. Lorry. You're as good as another, I have no doubt. Better, I dare say.
Indeed, sir. I really don't know what you have to do with the matter. If you'll excuse me for saying so, I really don't know that it's any of your business, Mr. Carton.
Business? Bless you, I have no business.
It's a pity you haven't, sir.
I think so, too.
If you had, perhaps you would attend to it.
Lord love you, no. I shouldn't.
Mr. Darnay, good night. God bless you, my boy. I hope you've been this day preserved for a prosperous and happy life.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. Good night, my boy.
Good night. Mr. Darnay.
Yes?
Mr. Darnay, this is a strange chance that throws you and me together. It must be a strange night to you, standing alone here with your counterpart on these street stones.
I hardly seem yet to belong to this world again. I feel quite faint.
Then why the devil don't you dine? Let me show you the nearest tavern to dine well at. Come on. Now, Mr. Darnay, now that you've eaten, do you feel that you belong to this terrestrial scheme again? It must be an immense satisfaction for you. Waiter, another bottle of wine. To me, the greatest desire I have is to forget that I belong to it. There's no good in it for me, except wine like this. Nor I for it. So we're not much alike in that particular, Mr. Darnay. Indeed, I begin to think we're not much alike in any particular. You and I. Except that we look alike. Now your dinner's done, why don't you call a health, Mr. Darnay? Why don't you give your toast?
Why, what health? What toast?
Why, it's on the tip of your tongue. It ought to be, it must be. Swear it's there.
Well, Miss Manette, then.
Miss Manette, then. Miss Manette, that's a fair young lady to hand to a coach in the dark, Mr. Darnay.
Yes.
That's a fair young lady to be pitied by and wept for by. Huh? How's it feel? Is it worth being tried for one's life to be the object of such sympathy and compassion, Mr. Darnay?
Mr. Carton, you saved my life today. I have not thanked you.
I neither want any thanks or merit any. It was nothing to do in the first place, and I don't know why I did it in the second. Mr. Darnay, let me ask you a question.
Willingly.
Do you think I particularly like you?
Really, Mr. Carton, I have not asked myself the question.
But ask yourself the question now.
You have acted as if you do, but I don't think you do.
I don't think I do.
Nevertheless, there is nothing in that, I hope, Mr. Carton, to prevent my calling the reckoning and our parting without ill blood on either side.
Oh, nothing in life. Oh, you pay the whole reckoning, Mr. Darnay. Then, bring me another pint of this same wine drawer and come and wake me at 10. Last word, Mr. Darnay. You think I'm drunk?
I think you have been drinking, Mr. Carton.
Think you know I've been drinking.
Since I must say so, yes, I know it.
Then you shall likewise know why. I am a disappointed drudge, sir. I care for no man on earth, and no man on earth cares for me.
That is very much to be regretted, Mr. Carton. You might have used your talents better.
Maybe so, Mr. Darnay. Maybe so, maybe not. But don't let your sober face elate you, however. You don't know what it may come to. Good night, Mr. Darnay. Drawer! Drawer! Where's that bottle of wine?
You are listening to the Columbia Network's presentation of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater in Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. We pause a moment now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Columbia Network is presenting A Tale of Two Cities, and the Mercury Theater resumes the story with Orson Welles as Dr. Manette and Sidney Carton.
The years passed. In the quarter of Saint-Antoine, in the wine shop in the narrow, mean streets, little groups of men gather to talk and scatter quickly when a stranger enters. Madame Defarge still works at her knitting.
You knit with great skill, Madame Defarge.
I am accustomed to it.
A pretty pattern.
You think so?
Strange, too. It looks like many names knitted there. But that can't be.
No, that can't be.
May I ask what it's for?
Pastime? Pastime?
Not for use.
That depends. I may find a use for it one day, who knows? If I do, well, I'll use it.
Madame Defarge.
Yes?
I have news that may interest you. News from England. Dr. Manette.
Yes?
I perceive you know the name.
Yes.
His daughter, Miss Manette, is going to be married in England. There is a curious thing about this marriage.
Yes?
What it comes to is this. Miss Manette, daughter of Dr. Alexander Manette, is going to marry the Marquis de Saint-Evremond. Oh, I perceive you know that name, too.
Yes.
In England, of course, he does not go under that name. He is called Mr. Charles Darnay. Mr. Charles
Defarge.
Yes. What is it?
Is it true, do you think, what he said of Mademoiselle Manette?
If it is.
If it is.
If it is true, then when our day does come, I hope for her sake destiny will keep her husband out of France.
Her husband's destiny will take him where he is to go, and will lead him to the end that is to end him. That is all I know.
Madame Defarge sits there knitting names into a scarf. Noble names. Lausanne, Lamballe, Guise, Saint-Evremond. Darkness is closing around. And then comes the ringing of the church bells. She sits knitting. Knitting. Another darkness is closing in. The church bells will soon be melted into thunder cannon, when the drums shall be beating to drown a wretched voice. And Madame Defarge, at the foot of a structure yet unbuilt, will sit knitting, knitting, counting dropping heads. London, 1789. Never did I see two people more united than Dr. Manette and his daughter in the weeks before Lucy's marriage to Charles Darnay.
Are you happy, my dear father?
My child, I never thought I should live to know such happiness.
An occasional visitor to their house in Soho Square was Sidney Carton. He was not improved in habits, or in looks, or in manner. His air of debauchery was as if, even more pronounced, and it seemed to me that he was behaving with even less delicacy than usual when he presented himself one afternoon, only a few days before Lucy's marriage, and asked to see Miss Manette alone. He was shown upstairs.
Miss Manette, will you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Carton.
Miss Manette, I know very well that you can have no tenderness for me. I ask for none. I'm even thankful that it cannot be.
Without it, is there nothing I can do for you, Mr. Carton?
All you can ever do for me is done. I wish you to know that in the last dream of my soul, in my degradation, I've not been so degraded, but at the sight of you with your father and of this house, the stirred old shadows that I thought had died out of me. A dream, or a dream that ends in nothing and leaves the sleeper where he lay down. But I wish you to know that you inspired it.
Will nothing of it remain?
No, Miss Manette. No. No, I shall never be better than I am. I'm like one who died young. All my life. Might have been. Don't be afraid. I'll never refer to this again, only in the hour of my death I shall hold sacred this one good remembrance. That my last avowal of myself was made to you and that my name and faults and miseries were gently carried in your heart. Do you believe this of me, Miss Manette?
I do.
And this, too, believe. For you and for any dear to you, I would do anything. Remember sometimes. Remember that there is a man who would give his life to keep a life you love beside you. Goodbye, Lucy. Goodbye.
Paris, 1789, July 14. In the quarter of Saint Antoine, something is happening. In the narrow, mean streets smelling of rags and nightcaps and hunger, all-night crowds have been stirring. Soon after dawn, Madame Defarge puts down her knitting.
Defarge, at last it has come.
Yes, our day has come.
Saint Antoine this morning is a vast, dusky mass of scarecrows heaving to and fro, with gleams of light above the billowy heads, where steel blades and bayonets shine in the sun. Now the mass begins to move.
Patriots and friends, we are ready. To the Bastille.
The living sea rises, wave on wave, depth on depth, overflowing the city. After 2 hours, a white flag from within the fortress. The sea rises wider and higher, over the lower drawbridge, past the massive stone outer walls, in among the 8 great towers surrender.
The prisoner! The secret cell! The instruments of torture! The prisoner! The secret cell!
The North Tower. What is the meaning of 105 North Tower? Quick.
It is a cell, citizen.
Show it to me. There is something hidden there that I must find.
Pass this way, Citizen Defarge.
3 years go by. The King of France and the Queen of France have paid with their lives for the suffering of the people. Day after day, fresh victims are driven through the streets of Paris to feed this new monster which lives on human blood, the guillotine. And at its foot, day after day, sit the women, knitting. London, 1792. The headquarters and the great gathering place of those who fled from France in those troubled years was Tellson's Bank.
Letter for Marquis de Saint-Aubin.
Here.
Vicomte de Lille. Vicomte de Lille.
Arrested at Calais. Executed.
Baron de Neuville.
Arrested. Executed.
Marquis de Saint-Evremont. Marquis de Saint-Evremont.
Here.
Mr. Darnay.
I'll take it.
Charles Darnay. I didn't know that you were
I'll
familiar
take
with...
charge of the letter, Mr. Lorry.
You know where to deliver it?
I do. If there's any answer, I'll let you know. Monsieur, heretofore the Marquis Charles de Saint-Evremont. I have been seized and brought to Paris. The crime for which I am to lose my life is, they tell me, treason against the majesty of the people, in that I have acted against them for an emigrant. You are that emigrant. It is in vain that I tell them that even before the confiscation of emigrant property, according to your commands, I had collected no rent and forced no taxes. Their only answer is that I have acted for an emigrant. Where is that emigrant? I beg you, Monsieur heretofore the Marquis, to come to my rescue and release me. I pray you, be true to me, your poor servant.
Yes, Darnay?
I have the answer to that letter.
So soon?
It is to a prisoner in the La Force prison in Paris.
And what is the message?
Simply that he has received the letter and will come.
3 days later, a few leagues out of Calais, on the Paris road, Charles Darnay was arrested.
Citizen, I beg you to observe that I came here of my own free will, in answer to that written appeal that lies before you. Is that not my right?
Right. Immigrants have no rights. You're consigned, Evremont, to the prison of La Conciergerie.
Just heaven, under what law? For what offense?
We have new laws, aristocrat, and new offenses since you were here.
News reached London through a secret agent of Tellson's Bank that Charles Darnay was in prison in danger of death. 3 days later, we were in Paris. Lucy with her child and Dr. Manette. Come in.
Good evening, citizen. Do you know me?
I've seen you somewhere.
Perhaps at my wine shop.
I noticed standing in the door a heavily built woman, silently knitting. Madame Defarge?
Yes.
That she may be able to recognize the faces and know the persons.
It is for their safety.
Mr. Lawrence.
Lucy, this man has a letter for you from Charles.
Oh, thank you. Dearest, take courage. I am well, and your father has influence around me. You cannot answer this. Kiss our child for me.
Is that his child?
Yes, madam. This is the prisoner's little child.
It is enough, my husband. I have seen them. We may go.
Oh, Madame.
Yes, aristocrat.
Madame, you will be good to my husband. You will help him to see him if you can.
What is it that your husband says in that little letter? Influence, no. He says something about influence.
He says...
Perhaps it will release him.
As a wife and a mother, I implore you to have pity on me. My husband is innocent.
The wives and mothers we have been used to see have not been greatly pitied. All our lives we have seen our women suffer. Poverty, hunger, thirst, sickness, misery.
We have seen nothing else.
We have borne this a long time. Is it likely the trouble of one wife and mother would be much to us now? Goodbye, aristocrat.
Charles Evremont, call Donny! Charles Evremont, call Donny!
Prisoner, is it true that you have lived many years in England?
That is true.
Then you are an immigrant?
No, citizen judge.
Prisoner, why did you return to France when you did?
I returned to France on the written entreaty of a French citizen to save a French citizen's life. Is that the action of a guilty man? Is that criminal in the eyes of the Republic?
Dr. Manette, take the stand. Dr. Manette, do you know this prisoner?
I do.
Where did you first make the prisoner's acquaintance?
In England, citizen judge, on my release from long imprisonment. This man is my first friend. For years he has lived in my house, always faithful and devoted to my daughter and myself in our exile. In all the years that I know this man, I, Dr. Manette, for 18 years, prisoner in the Bastille.
Enough! Live, Dr. Manette!
Not kill him!
Don't kill him!
Citizens! Wait! This prisoner has been denounced for a crime against the Republic. Before this prisoner is released, I demand in the name of the Republic that this denunciation be read aloud.
Why waste time?
Charles Everyman, called Darnay. Suspected and denounced enemy of the Republic. Aristocrat. One of a family of tyrants. One of a race proscribed. Charles Everyman, called Darnay. In right of such prescription, doomed to die.
Was the accused denounced openly or secretly?
Openly, President.
By whom?
3 voices. First, Ernest Defarge, wine vendor of San Antoine.
Good.
Second, Paris Defarge, his wife.
Good.
Third, Alexander Manette, physician.
President, I protest this is a forgery and a fraud. The accused is the husband of my daughter, who says that I denounced the husband of my child.
Citizen Manette, be still. If the Republic should demand of you the sacrifice of your child, you would have no duty but to sacrifice her. Be silent!
On the 14th of July, 1789, at the taking of the Bastille, a paper was found by Citizen Ernest Defarge, concealed between 2 stones in the chimney of a cell known as 105 North Tower. The writing is the writing of Dr. Manette. I, Alexander Manette.
Let it be read!
I, Alexander Manette, unfortunate physician, write this melancholy paper in my doleful cell in the Bastille. Hope is quite departed from my heart. To the last of their race, I, Alexander Manette, unhappy prisoner, do this last night of the year, 1767, in my unbearable agony, denounced to the times when all those things shall be answered for. I denounce them to heaven and earth. Death!
All day, tumbrils go through the streets, feeding the guillotine, and at its foot, splashed with blood, sit the women knitting late into the night, counting dropping heads.
Don't be alarmed, Mr. Lorry. Don't be alarmed. I'm quite sober.
Sidney Carton.
Now, Mr. Lorry, listen carefully to what I have to say.
But, Carton...
Don't waste time asking questions. First, Mr. Lorry, here is the certificate which enabled me to pass out of the city. You see, Sidney Carton, an Englishman.
Yes?
Yes. Keep it for me until tomorrow. I have arranged to see Charles Downey in prison in the morning, and I'd better not take it with me. Do you understand?
Why not?
I prefer not to do so. Now, take this paper. It's a certificate enabling Dr. Manette and his daughter and her child at any time to pass the barrier on the frontier, you see?
Yes, but
you can buy the means of traveling the coast as quickly as the journey can be made. You have money. Order your horses to be ready at 2 in the afternoon.
Well, it shall be done.
Tell Lucy tonight, for the sake of her child and her father, tell her and press upon her the necessity of leaving Paris with them and with you at that hour. Tell her it was her husband's last wish. You think she'll consent?
I believe
Have
so.
all these arrangements made in the courtyard, and here, even to the taking of your own seat in the carriage, and then, the moment I come to you, take me in and drive me away. Do you understand that?
I understand that whatever happens, I am to wait for you.
You have my certificate in your hand with the rest. The instant my place is occupied, you start for England. Promise me solemnly that nothing will make you alter the course on which you now stand pledged to each other.
Nothing, Carton.
Remember these words tomorrow. Remember them. Change the course or delay for any reason, and no life can possibly be saved. Many lives dear to us must inevitably be sacrificed.
I will remember them. I hope to do my part faithfully.
Yes, yes. And I hope to do mine.
In the black prison of the Conciergerie, the doomed of the day await their fate. They are 52. Even before their cells are quit of them, new occupants have been appointed. Before their blood runs into the blood spilled yesterday, the blood that is to mingle with theirs tomorrow is already set apart.
Is this the one?
Yes, this is the one. Go you in alone. I wait outside. Lose no time.
Good day, Mr. Downey.
Carton.
Once more we meet.
Are you a prisoner, too?
No, I happen to be possessed of a power over one of your keepers here. I come from your wife, Downey. I bring you a request from her.
What is it?
A most secret, earnest, pressing entreaty. No time to ask me why I bring it or what it means. I have no time to tell you. You must comply with it. Take off these boots you wear and draw on mine. Here's a chair. Now, hurry. Draw on these boots of mine. Put your hands to them. Put your will to them. Quick!
Carton, there's no escaping from this place. It can never be done. You'll only die with me. It's madness.
It would be madness if I asked you to escape, but do I? Of course not. Think that cravat and this is mine.
Carton,
Go
it's
on.
madness. It can't be done. It never can be done. It has been attempted. It has always failed.
Do I ask you, dear Downey, to pass the door? When I ask you that, then refuse me. There are pen and ink and paper on this table. Is your hand steady enough to write?
Why,
Then
yes.
write what I shall dictate. Quick, friend, quick. Write exactly as I speak.
To whom do I address
To
it?
no one.
Do I date it?
No. Oh. If you remember the words that passed between us long ago, you will understand this when you see it. You do remember them, I know. It is not in your nature to forget them. Have you written forget them?
I have. Is that a weapon in your hand?
No, I'm not armed.
What is in your hand?
You shall know directly. Write on there, but a few words more. I am thankful the time has come when I can prove them. That I do so is no subject for regret or grief.
What is that, vapor?
Vapor?
Something in the air?
I'm conscious of nothing. Take up the pen and finish. Hurry, hurry. If it had been otherwise, I should have had so much the more to answer for. If it had been otherwise, it had been otherwise.
for help. Take me to the coach.
You?
Him, man, with whom I've changed. You go out by the gate by which you brought me in.
Of course.
I was weak and faint. You brought me in, and I'm fainter. Now you take me out. The parting is overcome us. Such things happen here often, too often. Quick, call for help.
You swear not to betray me.
Man, don't waste time taking yourself to the courtyard. You know him. Place him yourself in the carriage, show him yourself to Mr. Lorry, and tell him to remember my words of last night and his promise of last night, and drive away.
Further! Hey! Help! And fainted!
Halt! Who goes there? Who's inside? Papers? Alexandre Manette, physician, French. Lucy, his daughter, French. Lucy, wife of Evremont. Is that right? Huh. Evremont has an appointment elsewhere today, I believe. Lucy, their child, English. Sidney Carton, lawyer, English. English lawyer appears to be sleeping. Jarvis Lorry, banker, English. Go ahead, you can depart, citizens. A good journey.
Follow me, Evermore.
I'm ready.
Down, Abramo! Down, Abramo! Which is Abramo? There at the back there, next to the girl. Let him down, everyone. To the guillotine! 18!
Citizen Evermond, do you remember me? I'm the poor little seamstress who was with you in the prison.
Huh? Oh, true, I forget. What were you accused for?
Plot. Is it likely? Who would think of plotting with a poor little weak creature like me?
19!
I'm not afraid to die, but I've done nothing. Citizen Evermond, will you let me hold your hand? I'm not afraid, but I'm little and weak. It will give me more courage.
20!
Keep your eyes upon me, dear child. Keep your eyes on me. Mind nothing else.
I'll mind nothing while I hold your hand. I shall mind nothing when I let it go. If they are quick.
They'll be quick. Never fear.
21!
Is the moment come?
Yes,
May I kiss you now? I'm so afraid.
my child. Nothing to fear. I see these men around me. Long ranks of the new oppressors who've risen on the destruction of the old, perishing by this same instrument of retribution before it shall cease out of its present use. I see the lives for which I lay down my life. Peaceful, useful, prosperous, and happy in that England which I shall see no more. You know, I see her father restored and faithful to all men in his healing office and at peace. I see her at this moment with a child upon her bosom who bears my name. And I hear her tell the child my story with a tender, And a faltering voice.
Number 22.
Goodbye, little one.
Number 23.
Right, citizen. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I've ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known.
Tonight, the Columbia Network has brought you Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. We now present the star and director of these broadcasts, who tonight played Dr. Manette and Sidney Carton, Orson Welles.
Ladies and gentlemen, I should like first to thank the actors of the Mercury Theater who played with us tonight. Among them were Martin Gable as Mr. Laurie, Ray Collins as the prosecutor, Edgar Berrier as Charles Darnay, Frank Reddick as Defarge, Eustace Wyatt as the clerk and the judge, Kenneth Delmar as the counsel for the defense, Betty Gard as Madame Defarge, Erskine Sanford as the president, Mary Taylor as Lucy Manette. Tonight's production was done at your request, and we intend to choose later works in this series on the basis of your letters to us. We're reading all the letters with the greatest of interest, and we thank you for your valuable suggestions. Now, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Until next Monday at the same time.
Tonight's production by the Mercury Theater on the Air was heard on both the CBS network and through the stations of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Bernard Herrmann conducted the music, and Davidson Taylor supervised for the Columbia Network. Dan Seymour speaking. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Columbia Network takes pride in presenting Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in the fourth broadcast of a unique new series dramatizing famous narratives by great authors. This is the first time that a complete theatrical producing company has been brought to radio, and the Columbia Network again welcomes Mr. Welles and his associates to its own stations and to the stations of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, coast to coast. Every week, Orson Welles invites our listeners to suggest their favorite titles. And tonight, the Mercury Theater on the Air presents 39 Steps by John Buchan, with Orson Welles as Richard Hannay and Marmaduke Joffrey. Here is Orson Welles.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot divulge the full name of the author of the 39 Steps. 7 university degrees and a title make him a gentleman and a scholar, and also practically unpronounceable. But I think you'd like to know, if you didn't, that it is the present Governor General of the Dominion of Canada and first Baron of Tweedsmuir who perpetrated this tall and shamelessly exciting spy story about high doings in Scotland. Lord Tweedsmuir, who in private life is a publisher, is himself very properly a Scotsman, who regards the sensational diversity of his responsibilities with the special calm of his nation. I regard my business, he says, as my profession, writing as my amusement, and politics as my duty. What's your name? I say, old fellow. What's your name? All right. Stand there in the street and don't outside. I never saw you before in my life. Birdie with a yellow bill hops upon my window. So, good night. I say good night, old fella. Hey, you're the bowler. You're the bowler hat. Good night. Got this shining head and said, oh, the door's open. You shot Hannah, Richard Hannah. To see. Richard Hannah, to see. Richard Hannah, to see. To see, to see, to see. Richard Hannah, wake up. Wake up, it's Marmaduke, good old Marmaduke. Marmaduke the earlyworm. Wake up, going to Scotland. Remember, the shooting, good old shooting. Sorry, fishing, good old fishing. I can early start. I say, Hannah. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Hey. Hey, Hannah, your phone's ringing. Wake up and answer it. Hannah. Must be drunk. Birdie with a yellow bill hopped upon my window. Cocked its shining head. Hello. You still there, you? Across the street? You're a stranger. I don't know you. And I don't know what you're doing here in the middle of the street, and I ought to tell you this. You know what I saw up there in flat 2C? A woman. Just stand there in a bowler hat. That's the old chap. You a bill collector? No. Don't stutter. Speak up. Well, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw an old lady in a tippet just sitting there. All right, through the keyhole. I'm not ashamed. I looked through the keyhole, and there was this old lady sitting in a chair in Richard Hannah's apartment. You know what? Her wig was crooked. Yes, sir. And the phone kept ringing. And she didn't answer it. She just sat there. With her eyes open.
Stop Express.
I'm sorry, sir. You missed it. Just putting out. You won't make it, sir. Hey, ticket! Ticket! Hey, ticket, sir! Champagne, get stopped. All things to Lord Maven. Richard, Briggs, and Danny Galloway. Lord Maven. Secret said. Here. Thank you. Ticket. Good bit. Change it now, Beetle. Yeah. What's into the safe?
What does it sound like?
I'm like a dog. Is that a dog you got there?
He's a dog.
All dogs, domestic animals, traveling passenger accommodations, Great Northern Railway, blue search, cameras, and risk and liability. Change it now, Beetle. Did you claim it?
Come on, Charlie. Off to the lead now. Here you are, sir. Creaking.
1 and a half. How old are you, Sandy?
Charlie, 7. Just turned 7, ain't you, Charlie?
Yeah, that's big boy, Charlie, for your age. 3 and 1 and a half. Did it?
Thank you. They do sprout up, don't they? Mind the lollipop now, Charlie.
Did it?
I'm sorry. I haven't got one.
Vienna, what is this?
Sorry, I didn't have time. I had to run to make it.
Oh, what's it? Where to? Where to?
Newton Stewart.
8 and 14.
Here you are.
8 and 14 out of 10 and 6 penalty for begging to continue while in France. Aren't you all good?
Thank you.
Here, stow it, Joe.
Do it. Do.
I can't see why passengers have to put up with that sort of thing. And the least now, mind, or out he goes. See it?
Now then, Charlie. Now then. Don't give your lollipop to the doggy.
Do. Trains are overcrowded as it is without bringing in a lot of smelly brutes, I must say. Excuse me, sir, while I open the window.
Very well.
Some people are never satisfied. Never you mind, Charlie. The dog is man's truest friend. Never mind what anybody may say.
All right, lady, all right. I consider myself ticked off.
And always remember, Charlie, that a man who doesn't like a dog is no friend of yours. You can be sure that Richard Annie didn't keep a dog. Not in The Murderer. No man who would do in a poor old lady through the art in his flat would keep a dog. No, Charlie.
Don't go. Don't.
Curious case, that Portland Place murder affair, isn't it, sir?
I'm good about it.
You know, I'm always interested in a good murder. Here we are, sir. The Guardian Chronicle, special edition. I haven't seen this one myself yet. Shocking occurrence in Portland Square. Milkman's story. Annie disappears. Seen at St. Pancras. Oh, here's out one. Now look at this, sir.
Yes?
There's reason to believe that the suspect, Richard Annie, is headed north of the Tweed. Scotland Yard is searching all Great Northern trains. I say, Great Northern? Why, that's us.
Oh, shut your gab. What are you trying to do? Frighten the kiddie?
All right, lady. Sorry.
It may be he's sitting here the know, in this very compartment among us, and the blood of the slain not dry on his hands. Doom, Doctor.
Well, we'll soon settle that. Here it is. Middle-height, hair brown, eyes blue, mustache, about 35, wearing a gray tweed suit. Let's look at his picture now. Here it is. Go to page 17. Hey, stop there!
Here he goes, running!
Heading for the hill.
Yeah, what's going on here? Who made emergency light? Was it one of you? It was him. Jumped and grabbed it. Then out of the window.
I knew it was him.
Who are you talking about? Hurry up, man. Throw down the line and I'll give you the slip. Who?
The murderer!
Mr. Richard Handy.
Get away from that glass, Charlie.
He was sitting right next to me.
Come on, Charlie. Get away now. Or I'll give your nice lollipop to one of these gentlemen here.
Vauxhall Road, Richard Hannay, wanted for Portland Place murder. Reported in stolen car. Large green Daimler speeding south.
Scotch and soda, sir?
Is that the best thing you can suggest, Sullivan, for a man who's barely escaped with his life from a motor accident?
Brandy and soda, sir.
Drove right to the head, he did, Sullivan. Went through it like butter, down the bank and into the burn. Lucky he came out alive.
Gin and tonic,
You did lucky thing, too. I came along, fished him out. Gentlemen, stay for supper, Sullivan. Better take him a change of clothes when he's out of his bath. Things were badly torn up. Not a pleasant thing to turn over 3 times a day with a phaeton, Sullivan.
He's done with his bath. I laid out the blue serge, Sir Harry.
Oh, good work, Sullivan. Tell cook there'll be 2 for supper.
She has been so informed. There is still one question unsolved, Sir Harry.
Yes, Sullivan.
As you observed, sir, the gentleman has just been in a motor car wreck.
Of course. Oh, of course. Make it whiskey, Sullivan.
Very good, sir.
Oh, well, hello there. I say hello. You look better in that blue serge than I ever did, doesn't you, Sullivan?
Yes, Sir Harry.
You're staying to supper, old man, I hope. Sullivan tells me pleasant. My name is Parker. Parker. We haven't introduced ourselves.
I think you ought to know. You have in your house the man who is wanted for the Portland Place murder.
What's that?
My name is Richard Hannay.
Sullivan?
Yes, sir.
Your duty is to send for the police and give me up. I don't think I'll get very far. There'd be an accident, and I'll have a knife in my ribs an hour or so after sunset. Nevertheless, it's your duty as a law-abiding citizen.
Hey, don't look like a murderer to me. Does he, Sullivan?
No, Sir Harry.
I'm not. The fact is that 3 days ago, a man was found dead in my flat.
Hey, old fellow. Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Haney says a man was found dead in his flat.
Murdered, Mr. Harry.
Murdered.
The Portland Place murder, Sir Harry.
Yes, Sullivan. A man, Mr. Harry?
The victim of the Portland Place murder, Sir Harry, was a woman.
It was a man.
Oh, now look here, old fellow.
The press, Sir Harry, is very clear on this one point. The victim was a woman.
An old woman, wasn't it, Sullivan?
It was, sir.
An old woman.
The body that was found in my flat on Tuesday morning. The body of a man named Nathan Skoda.
Sullivan.
Yes.
The whiskey, Sullivan.
Very good, sir.
And Sullivan?
Yes.
Bring 2 glasses.
Well, here it is. Here's the whole story. My name is Richard Hannay. I was a mining engineer in Rhodesia and grew a while. I made my pile and came back to England 3 weeks ago. Well, last Monday night I got back to my flat about 10 o'clock. I live in a new block behind Portland Place. There's a porter in the building who leaves around 9. As I came up the stairs, I heard my phone ringing. Hello? 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 Hello?
The call's for me.
What in heaven's name?
Close the door. You locked?
Yes.
Very sorry. Great liberty, I know. Breaking in this way, but I need help. Worse than any man ever needed it. Can I count on you?
It depends.
You see, I have an idea. By this time tomorrow, I shall be dead.
That's what he told me the minute he got in the door. The little man was scared stiff. I could see that. He carried a parcel under his arm, a brown paper parcel, and there was a trickle of blood on his left hand from a fresh cut across the knuckles. There's going to be a war. Now, wait a minute. That's what he told me. A war. And this war is going to come as a great surprise to Britain. Somebody's going to be murdered. He told me this Thursday, remember, Thursday night. In London, a fellow called Carolitis. Oh, nothing on earth can save him. But that's just a beginning. According to what this fellow told me, Carolitis isn't important, not in himself. It's what comes after he's dead. On July 15th, the chief of the French General Staff will be in London. On that day, the British Admiralty is to give him complete statement of the disposition of the entire British fleet on mobilization. At least I gather it's something like that, something uncommonly important. Now then, On the 15th of July, there will be others in London. I don't know who. He had a name for them. He called them the Black Stone. But somehow this information, those secrets about our fleet destined for France, will be diverted into their hands on that day, July 15th, and will be used, remember, a week or two later against England by our deadly foe with great guns and swift torpedoes, suddenly in the darkness of a summer night. I know you don't believe this. I didn't when he told it. I do now. Well, I noticed that while this man Skoda was talking, he kept fingering a little black notebook which was full of writing, some sort of code it looked like.
You may believe me or not, just as you please. There it is.
This is the fellow speaking, the fellow with the brown paper parcel and the cut across his knuckles. This is what he said.
Yes, for this information. I got the first hint nearly 2 years ago in an inn on the Achensee in Tyrol. I collected my other clues in a fur shop in the Galician quarter of Budapest, in a strangers' club in Vienna, in a little bookshop in the Recknitzstrasse in Leipzig. I completed my evidence 10 days ago in Paris. And until yesterday, I thought that I had worked unobserved. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. For me. Those men calling. See if I'm here. Don't answer it. Here. Let me show you something. Will you please turn up the light?
Yes.
Come to the window. Look. Down there.
Well, I looked. For a moment, I saw nothing but the deserted street below. Then I noticed a man in a bowler hat standing in a doorway across the street.
When I came home last night, I found a card in my letterbox. Here it is.
The Black Stone. What's the Black Stone?
Well, that's the name. That's what they call themselves, these people. When I got that card, I knew that I had to die.
Why don't you call the police?
Ah, it's no use. These men followed me here. I'm bottled in this building as sure as a pickled herring. That's why I'm telling you all these things tonight. If I fail, well, I should hate to leave this scene without leaving somebody behind to put up a fight.
Well, I still didn't know what to make of the little chap, and it was getting late. So I made him a bed in my smoking room. Good night.
Good night. And in case I'm not here in the morning, I haven't the privilege of your name, sir, but let me tell you, you're a white man. Oh, I said before you go to bed, I'll thank you to lend me a razor.
I locked the door of my room. Finally, I fell asleep. I woke before dawn, couldn't go to bed again. I lit a cigarette and started to read. Then I noticed that the light in the smoking room was still on. I got up, I had a cigarette in my mouth, I remember, and as I pushed open the smoking room door, I saw something that made me drop my cigarette. Bolt upright in a chair by the window sat an old woman with her eyes open. There was a long knife through her heart, which skewered her to the back of the chair. I looked quickly about and called for Skoda. There was no reply. Then I noticed three things. First, the old woman's wig had fallen slightly askew. Second, that the brown paper parcel I'd noticed under Skoda's arm the night before was now lying open and empty on the table. Third, that across the knuckles of the old woman's left hand was a fresh, unhealed cut. From the limpness of the body, I estimated that Skoda had been dead for about 2 hours. I wondered what had happened to the little black book. I searched Skoda's body and found nothing. Then I noticed that the whole flat had been ransacked in the night. The insides of books, drawers, covered even the sideboard in the dining room. I shuttered and bolted every door and window in the flat. Skoda's story was true. The men who knew that he knew what he knew had found him and had made certain of his silence. You see, his disguise had not saved him. I'd be the next to go. But suppose I went out now and called the police. What kind of a story could I tell about Skoda? If I told them the truth, they'd simply laugh at me. I'd be charged with murder. The best I could hope for was jail. And that was just what they wanted for me. An English prison was as good a way of getting rid of me till after July 15th as a knife in my chest. I got out an atlas and looked at the big map of the British Isles. My notion was to get off to some wild district, some open space where my South African experience would be of help to me, some place where I'd be safe hiding for 6 days until July 15th. I decided Scotland would be best. There was a train from St. Pancras at 7:10. I went to the window and looked out between the shutters. It was beginning to get light. I saw a man standing in the doorway in a bowler hat. Then another man, who seemed to be drunk, came down in evening dress down the street. He walked unsteadily. He caught sight of the man in the bowler hat and went over and spoke to him. Then he crossed the street and came into the house.
Wake up, Barbedew. Good old Barbedew. Barbedew the early boy. Wake up. Going to Scotland. Remember? The shooting. Good old shooting. Oh, sorry. Busy. Good old Philly. Ain't like an early start. I say, Hannah. Hey, Hannah. Hannah, your phone's ringing. Wake up and answer it. Hannah. Must have dropped. Good evening, yellow bill. Up, what I do so. Up, its shining head.
I waited till he'd gone. I put a pipe in my pocket and filled my pouch from the tobacco jar on the table by the fireplace. As I poked into the tobacco, my fingers touched something hard, and I drew out Skoda's little black book. Somehow that seemed a good omen. I went out into the street, past the doorway, past the man in the bowler hat, and at 7:10 I was at St. Pancras Station.
Dr. Express? Sorry, sir, you missed it. Just putting out, sir. You won't make it, sir. Hey, ticket, ticket. Hey, ticket. Them freeze, then stop. Won't change the long pavement to Goodbury Creek to get away.
10 hours later, between Dorby and Newton Stewart, I pulled the emergency cord and jumped off the train.
Oh, stop it!
There he goes running! The murderer!
I was a good mile from the track before I stopped running. The moor was all around me. You couldn't have found a more peaceful landscape in the world, yet at that moment, for the first time in my life, I felt the terror of the hunted on me. It wasn't the police I was afraid of, but the others who knew that I knew Skoda's secret and dared not let me live. They had killed Skoda in my flat within a few yards of me. Now it was my turn. And I didn't even know what these men looked like. I wish I'd listened more carefully to what Skoda had said about them. I think he said there were 3 of them. And that one of them was young and dark, and one was plump, and one was old and stammered sometimes when he spoke. Suddenly, in the blue evening sky, I saw something. Low down in the south, a monoplane was climbing into the heavens. I was as certain as if I'd been told that that aeroplane was looking for me. It flew low over the hilltops, and then back over the valley. I started to run. I ran till the sweat blinded my eyes. I ran most of the night, keeping always south in the direction of the hills. And as the mists cleared before the sun, I found myself in the central boss of a high upland country with glens falling away on every side. Then I saw the monoplane again, coming up from the east. It was flying high. It circled about me in narrowing circles, the way a hawk wheels before it pounces. Now it was flying quite low. The observer on board caught sight of me. I could see him looking at me through glasses. No. Now it was speeding eastward again till it became a speck in the blue morning. My enemies had located me. The next thing would be a cordon around me. There wasn't enough cover on the whole moor to hide a rat. I tossed a coin, heads right, tails left. Fell head, so I turned north. For a while I got to the mountain country and came to the brow of a ridge. Way down a slope a couple of miles away, several men were advancing like a row of beaters at a chute. And it may have been my imagination, but I thought I saw figures, 1, 2, perhaps more, moving in a glen beyond the stream. I looked down into the valley. There were men below. Police, they looked like. Not more than a quarter of a mile off, spaced out on the hillside like a fan beating the heather.
Hey, Joe! Hey! Oh, here! Hey, Joe! Oh, here! Where? Up there! You know him? Yes, that's him!
You are listening to the Columbia Network's presentation of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater in John Buchan's 39 Steps. We shall resume the story in a moment. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Columbia Network is presenting 39 Steps by John Buchan. And now the Mercury Theater resumes the story with Orson Welles as Richard Hannay and Marmaduke Jopley. We were playing hare and hounds, police and I. Soon it began to seem less of a game. The police had evidently called in the local herds of gamekeepers. These fellows were hefty men on the native heath. Looking back, I saw that only 3 were following me. The others had fetched a circuit to cut me off. I crossed a burn and came out on a road which seemed to be kept with some care. A few hundred yards to my left, I saw the chimneys of a house smoking. There was a veranda in front of the house, and through the glass, I saw the face of an elderly gentleman meekly watching me.
Hurry, my friend.
His face was round and shiny, like Mr. Pickwick's, and the top of his head was as bright and bare as a glass bottle. Through the window could be seen some figures, half a mile off.
Oh, I see. Fugitive from justice, eh? Well, we'll go into the matter at our leisure. Go into my study. You'll see 2 doors facing you. Take the one to the left and close it behind you. Close it tight.
I did as I was told. I was in a little dark chamber that smelled of chemicals. I wasn't any too happy. There was something about the old gentleman which rather terrified me. He'd been too easy and ready. Almost as if he'd been expecting me, and his eyes had been horribly intelligent.
All right. You may come out now.
Have they gone?
They have gone. I convinced them that you had crossed the hill. I do not choose that the police should come between me and one whom I am delighted to honor.
He smiled gently and nodded to the door behind me. I turned and saw two manservants who had me covered with pistols.
This is a lucky morning for you, Mr. Richard Hannay.
Hey, what's going on here? And who are you calling Richard Hannay? My name's Ainsley.
So? Oh, but of course you have many names. We won't quarrel about a name, Mr. Hannay.
And now I suppose you're going to give me up after all. And a low, dirty trick, I call it. By God, I wish I'd never seen that cursed money. Here it is in big damn here.
You are a clever actor, Mr. Hannay, but not quite clever enough. Oh, no, I shall not give you up. My friends and I will have a little private settlement with you tonight.
Ah, for God's sake, stop jawing. Everything's against me. What's the harm in a poor devil with an empty stomach picking up some money he finds in a lost pocketbook? That's all I've done, and for that I've been shivering for 2 days for these blasted bodies over these blasted hills. I could see a dawning of a doubt in his mind. I'll tell you, I'm fair sick of it.
Will you oblige me with a story of your recent doings, Mr. Hannay?
I can't, Governor. I've not had a bite to eat for 2 days. Give me a mouthful of food, and then you'll hear God, too.
You're a good liar, Hannay. But I do not propose to let you go. If you are what you say you are, you will soon have a chance of clearing yourself. If you're what I think you are, I do not think you will see the light much longer.
Geringster, daraus naar schließen, bis die zurückkommt.
Ja. I want the Daimler in 5 minutes. There will be 3 to dinner. Goodbye, Mr. Hannay. We will meet again tonight.
I marched out of the room with a pistol in the small of my back. They locked me up again in a small, dark chamber that smelled of chemicals. It was as black as pitch. Well, I made out that the walls were lined with boxes and barrels and sacks of some heavy stuff. The old boy had gone off in a car to collect his friends. He'd be back soon. The plump one and the dark, thin one. But I figured it out. I had just about 2 hours longer to live, and I got a Skoda dressed up like an old woman, sitting in that chair by the window in my flat with his eyes open. I got up and started moving around the room again. I found a handle in the wall, the door of a cupboard of some sort. And in that cupboard there were bottles and cases of queer-smelling stuffs and coils of fine copper wire. There was a box of detonators and a lot of cord for fuses. Also half a dozen little gray bricks. I took up one and smelled it and put it in my tongue. I've been a mining engineer for nothing. I know lead tonight when I see it. It was a risk. But if I didn't take it, I'd probably be occupying a 6-foot hole in the garden by evening anyhow. So, took a quarter of a lentonite brick and buried it near the door, and then I got a detonator and a couple of feet of fuse. And then I lit a match. Something had hit my left shoulder. There was a poisonous yellow fog all around me. Somewhere behind me I felt fresh air. I started to run. I ran. Much later, in a clearing on a hillside, I saw a small stone building with a tower. The door was open. It was dark and cool inside. I staggered in and sat down on one of the benches. The pain in my shoulder was unbearable. Then I heard steps coming down the path. I found a small door in one corner and narrow stairs running up to the tower. I went up. Now, most of the top of this tower was taken up with bells. But there was a small ledge outside just wide enough to lie down on. I heard a man downstairs below me in the tower. I lay there with a burning head and the sun glaring in my face. Right above me was the monoplane. They couldn't have missed me lying there on the open ledge. They knew where I was. Soon they'd come back for me. Suddenly, right under me... bells, and presently up the hillside, little dark knots of men began to appear. They came slowly, dozens of them, all moving towards me, slowly advancing, closing in on me. I was too sick to move. I lay there waiting for them to come and get me. Now they were in the building below me. In a few seconds, they'd be up the stairs. I waited, and no one came. I lay there waiting. Then, a thought struck me. Skoda had been murdered on Thursday night, 4 days ago. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days. Then these men, coming up the hills, in little dark knots, in black, slowly advancing, closing in on me, were not my enemies. They weren't after me. They didn't even know I was there. They were peacefully walking to church with their families. It was Sunday. Presently, a large green open Daimler drove up. 3 men got out. My plump friend, the professor, and the dark young man. I could see them looking up at my tower. 2 of them went into the church. The thin man stayed at the car. I waited up there on the ledge. But they didn't come up. They left me there. The service had just begun. That gave me about an hour. Now, there was an old iron drain pipe running along the corner of the tower. It didn't seem particularly solid. Besides, I was in full sight of the man in the car. At that moment, it started to rain. The man in the car looked up at the sky. He turned his collar, then he shrugged his shoulders, got out of the car, and went into the church. I started down the side of the tower. Halfway down, my foot slipped and I fell. The ground was soft. I got up and went over to the car and drove off. I drove that Daimler for all she was worth. It was risky driving with my right arm out of action. But I drove on south, downhill into the valley. The road was full of sharp curves and shiny under my headlights and very slippery.
Got some soda, sir? That's right, Sullivan. Mr. Haney, I may talk like an ass most of the time, but I can size up a man.
The whiskey, sir.
Thanks, Sullivan. Pour it, will you? 2 sip one.
Very good, sir.
My name is Henny.
Well, Hanny, you're no murderer and you're no fool. And I believe you're speaking the truth. I'm going to back you up. Now, what can I do?
I've got to get in touch with the government sometime before July 15th. That's the day after tomorrow. If you can help me.
All right, I will. The permanent secretary at the Foreign Office is my cousin and one of the best going. He's down at his cottage in the country. South fishing. If you start early tomorrow morning, Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
Have the station wagon here at 6 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And reserve a compartment on the Southern Express.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Sullivan.
Yes, Harry.
Send a telegram to Sir Walter.
Yes, sir.
If a man called...
Hannay. Better not use my real name.
So right you are. If a man called, Sullivan, you will think of a name for Mr. Hannay?
Yes, sir. A short name, sir.
Yes, Sullivan.
And British, of course. Sir.
Oh, yes, Sullivan.
You can count on me, sir. Sir Walter Bullivant, Kenneth near Artonsville, Cambridgeshire. If a man called Swisden appears tomorrow, treat him kindly. He may tell you something that will wake you up. He will pass the word Blackstone and whistle Annie Laurie. Love, Harry.
That was a scream, isn't it? Yes, sir. I'll back out Kenneth for trout fishing against any river in England. He's that big fellow there. 4 pounds if he's an ounce. I don't see him, sir. Go there. Yard from the reeds, just above that stick. Yes, I see him now. He's a big fellow. I swear it was a black stone. Yes. Swisden's name, isn't it? No, I mean to say, yes, sir. Wise conspirator knows his own name. You're Sir Walter. And? Now then, Mr. Hennay. My cousin promised you'd tell me something that would wake me up. I'm ready. Oh, Mr. Hennay, before we begin, I think I ought to tell you, I got a letter from Skoda this morning. Skoda? Yes. Skoda's been dead a week. It was written on the 8th, the day before he came to you. His letters usually took a week to reach that. They were sent undercover to Spain and then to Newcastle. What did he say? Like you. Strange fellow, Skoda. He knew more international secrets than any secret service man in Europe. The trouble about him was he liked to play a lone hand. He'd never tell us all he knew. Besides, he was getting romantic. Blackstone. Like any novelette. Sir Walter, is Carolitis in London? Yes. Been there for days. In his letter, did Skoda say anything about Premier Carolitis? Premier Carolitis? Skoda said that the 14th of July, today, Carolitis would be murdered. Carolitis murdered? Nonsense. There's no state in Europe, once came out of the way. Virtuous Carolitis is likely to outlive us all. I'm afraid Skoda went off the trail there.
Walter?
Yes, he spotted it.
Telegram, Sir Walter. That came through from London.
Thanks. You excuse me, Mr. Hennay? Chief, car, right away. Call the Foreign Office. Tell them I'm on my way up. Yes, sir. I apologize to the shady Skoda. Carolides was shot dead this evening, a few minutes after 7. It begins to look like war, Mr. Hennay. What about our naval plan, Sir Walter? You know what Skoda said about them? He said tomorrow, July 15th. They're taking no chances, Mr. Hennay. General Dufour, chief of the French General Staff, arrived in London at 5 today. He dines with the Prime Minister, and then he goes to the Foreign Office. There are 4 people will see him. Whittaker from the Admiralty, myself, Sir Arthur Drew, and General Winstanley. Lord Stirling may be there. You never know about him. He gets more erratic every day. The Foreign Office, General Dufour, will get a certain document from Whittaker. After that, he'll be motored to Portsmouth, where a destroyer will take him to Havre.
He won't be left unattended for a moment until he's safe in Paris. The same with Whittaker, till the papers are out of his hands. And I don't mind admitting I'm horribly nervous.
Sir Walter, if those plans were stolen, could the disposition be changed?
We can't make any serious change in those dispositions, Mr. Hannay, unless we alter the geography of England. And now, gentlemen, that our meeting is over, I must ask you to give me a few minutes longer of your time. Gentlemen, I ask you to meet Mr. Hannay. How do you do, Mr. Hannay? General Dufour. Honored to meet you. Sir Arthur Drew. How do you do, sir? John Whittaker. How do you do, sir? General Winstanley. How do you do? Gentlemen, I've taken the highly unusual step of asking Mr. Hannay to attend our meeting tonight because Mr. Hannay is in possession of certain vital information which every one of us here... I'm sorry, Walter. I am a sick man. I'm going back to my bed where I belong. Good night, gentlemen. Good night, sir. Good night, Mr. Hannay. Sorry I can't stay to hear what you've got to say. Oh, and Whittaker, whatever comes up, you take care of it. Don't call me again tonight.
Stop that man!
Really?
I tell you to stop that man. Stop him.
Mr. Hannay, I think you're forgetting yourself.
I beg of you to stop him. If you won't, I will. Too late. Gentlemen, who do you think went through that door a minute ago?
Lord Sterling.
He did not. It was his living image, but it was not Lord Sterling.
Oh,
Gentlemen, have you ever known Lord Sterling to stammer?
Stammer? Hannay, have you gone out of your head?
I tell you, gentlemen, that man who just went out was not Lord Sterling. It was someone who recognized me. Someone I've seen in the last 3 days.
Nonsense. Really, Mr. Hannay, I think you have gone out of your head.
That remains to be seen. Sir Walter, may I call Lord Sterling's house?
I'll do it. Hello? If you wouldn't say house. Hurry, please. Hello? Yes, hello. This is Walter Bullivant. Will you ask Lord Sterling to call me the minute he gets home? What? What's that? Are you sure? I see. Thanks. Lord Sterling hasn't been out of his bed all day. He went to sleep at 6 and woke up a few minutes ago. Well, then, who was it?
The Black Stone.
But it's madness. You mean to tell me that man came here and sat beside me for the best part of an hour, and I didn't detect the impostor, my own chief?
You were too interested in other things to have the use of your eyes. You took Lord Sterling for granted. If it had been anybody else, you might have looked more closely.
The thing that puzzles me is, what good was his visit here do that fellow, the spy fellow? Here are the plans right here on his table. He couldn't carry away several pages of figures and strange names in his head.
Yes, he could. The trained spy has a photographic memory. You noticed he said nothing, but went through those papers again and again. Those plans were as lost to us as if he had them in his pocket.
Give me the Home Office. Port Division. Have every port watched, every outgoing steamer checked.
And we have not a rag of a clue.
I wonder. Sir Walter, here's Skoda's little black book. It's in code, except for one sentence scrawled over the last page. Skoda knew where those fellows would hide. He knew when they were going to leave the country. I wonder if in that sentence...
What is it? Let's hear it.
39 steps. I counted them. High tide, 10:17 p.m.
39 steps.
That is a clue, don't you see? And it was someplace where high tide was at 10:17.
There are at least 100 places in England where the tide's high at 10:17 tomorrow.
Oh, they've gone to know it. Not they. They have their own secret plans, and they won't be hurried.
39 steps? What does he mean by steps?
Dock steps.
Then he wouldn't have mentioned their number. It must be a place where there's more than one set of stairs.
Home Office, Department of Transportation. Hello, Bullivant speaking. I say, is there any regular steamer leaving for the continent 10:17 p.m.? Look it up. What? You sure? Thanks. There's no regular steamer sailing for the continent at 10:17 p.m. from anywhere.
Then it must be a private boat in a little port. That explains why the tide's important.
Hello? Give me the Admiralty. Hello? Walter Bullivant speaking. Hello, Jenkins. What places do you know along the east coast where there are cliffs? There are several sets of steps run down to the beach. I mean steps, regular staircases. What's that? Place in Norfolk? Rattleton? The golf course? No, that's not it. No, marine piers won't do either. Has to be more retired than that. What? What else? Think, man, think. It's important. What's that? What you call it? The Ruff? Listen to this. A big chalk headland in Kent, close to Bradgate.
Sir Arthur, look at the Admiralty timetable. Bradgate, Kent.
Yes. A lot of villas on top of a cliff, and some of the houses have staircases down to a private beach.
All right, Sir Arthur.
Here, listen to this. Bradgate. High tide, July the 15th, 10:17 p.m.
Bradgate, July 15th. Confidential report. Richard Hannay, Special Agent to Sir Walter Bullivant, Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Office. There is a villa with 39 steps leading down to the sea. Trafalgar Lodge, it's called, sir. Belongs to an old gentleman called Appleton, a retired stockbroker. Well, here's what happened. At about 6 that evening, I saw the yacht, the foreign steam yacht. Came up from the south and dropped anchor pretty well opposite the Ruff. Then, later, our British destroyer came in. At 9:30, I strolled towards Trafalgar Lodge. The Scotland Yard men would be posted around the house by now, but there was no sign of a soul. The house stood as open and public as a charity bazaar.
Yes, sir?
Does Mr. Appleton live here?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see him, please.
I'll see if he's in. Will you wait here in the hall, please, sir?
I found myself in a neat hall. There were golf clubs and tennis rackets, which you'll find in 10,000 British homes. There was, a grandfather clock ticking a barometer and a print of children winning the Grand National.
What name shall I say, sir?
Hannay.
Will you come this way, please, sir? Mr. Hannay.
The old man rose to meet me. He was in evening dress. So was the plump one. The third, the dark one, wore a blue serge suit and the colors of some club or school.
Mr. Hannay, you wish to see me? One moment, you fellows, I'll join you. Better go to the smoking room, Mr. Hannay.
We'll stay here. I think we've met before. I guess you know my business.
Maybe, sir, maybe. I haven't a very good memory. I'm afraid you must tell me your errand, for I really don't know it.
Well, then, I've come to tell you that the game's up. I have a warrant here for the arrest of you three.
Arrest? Really? Arrest? Good Lord, what for?
For the murder of Nathan Scoter in London on the 8th day of this month.
Why, I've never heard the name before.
Good heaven, you must be mad, sir. Where do you come from?
Scotland Yard.
Why, don't get stuck to that. It's all a ridiculous mistake. Well, these things happen sometimes. Well, we can easily set it right. I can show that I was out of the country on the 8th, and Bob was down here. You were in London, but of course you can explain what you were doing.
Right, Percy. Of course, that's easy enough. The 8th, last Thursday. Why, that was the day after Agatha's wedding. Let me see, what was I doing? I came up in the morning from Woking and lunched at the club with Charlie Simons. Oh, yes, then I dined at the City Hall, I remember. But the punch didn't agree with me. I was seedy next morning. Hang it all, there's the cigar box I brought back from the dinner.
Think what Aunt Nellie will say. She always said you'd die of boredom because nothing ever happened to you, and now you've got it thick and strong. Why, that's wonderful.
By Jove, yes, just think of it. What a story to tell at the club. Really, Mr. Hannay, I suppose I should be angry to show my innocence, but it's too funny. I almost forgive you the fright you gave me. You looked so glum, I thought I might have been walking in my sleep and killing people like Jack the Ripper.
It couldn't be acting. It was too confounded genuine. Oh, my heart went into my boots. My first impulse was to apologize and clear out. And yet, there were three of them. And one was old. And one was plump. And one was lean and dark. And their house fitted in with Scudder's notes. And half a mile offshore was lying a foreign yacht. There's only one thing to do, go forward as if I had no doubts. If I was going to make a fool of myself, I might as well do it handsomely. Then I remembered what old Peter Penny always told me in Rhodesia, Vescal Avenue. He told me once, talking about disguises, that barring certainties like fingerprints, mere physical traits are of very little importance. If a man really knows his business, well, he laughed at things like dyed hair and false beards and such childish follies. If a man really knew his business, if you're playing a part, you'll never keep it up unless you convince yourself that you really are the man you're pretending to be. So I walked to the door and switched on the electric light. And the sudden glare made them blink, and I stood scanning the three faces while I made nothing of it. One was old and bald, one was stout, one was dark and thin. That's all I could tell. Perhaps they were the three men who had hunted me in Scotland. Perhaps they weren't. There was a silver cigarette box on the table beside me, and I saw that it had been won by Percy Appleton, Esquire, for St. Bede's Club in a golf tournament.
Well, are you reassured by your scrutiny? I make no complaint, but you see how annoying it must be to respectable people. Are you going to drop it?
No.
Oh, Lord, this is a bit too thick. Do you propose to march us off to the police station? I have the right to ask you your warrant, you know, but I don't wish to cast any aspersions upon you, sir. You're only doing your duty, but you will admit it's horribly awkward. What do you propose to do?
Well, I vote we have a game of billiards. It will give Mr. Hannay time to think things over and show him there's no ill feeling. You play, sir?
Yes, play.
Billiard room is downstairs, Mr. Hannay. Why don't you two start? We'll finish our cigars and come down later.
Oh. We went to the billiard room.
Choose your cue, sir.
Thanks.
Plain or spot, sir?
Spot.
Short?
Thanks.
How about a few practice shots?
Good work, Mr. Hannay. I'm afraid you're in for a licking, Bob.
Should we start? Who'll begin?
Well, should we talk? What are you playing for?
Shilling a game?
It's all right.
Heads or tails, Mr. Hannay?
Heads.
Heads it is. You begin. Will you mark for us, Percy?
I do. 7.
That was a near one, rough luck.
5. 8.
That's all right, Mr. Hannay.
5. That's 13. 17.
Good work.
Stop at 17.
Percy, look at the time. You'd better think about catching your train.
Yes, Percy's got to go to town tonight.
I'm afraid you must put off your journey.
Oh, dash it all, Hannay. I thought you'd drop that, but I've simply got to go. You can have my address, and you can have any security you like.
No, you must stay. It was 5 minutes after 10. In 12 minutes, it would be high tide. Through the window, I could see the lights of the foreign yacht offshore.
So bail for my nephew. That ought to content you, Mr. Hannay.
Was it my fancy, or did I detect some halt in the smoothness of that voice? And then I thought of something. Mr. Appleton, when does your nephew have to be in London?
Right.
Did you say you would go bail for him, Mr. Appleton?
Yes, I told you I would.
Well, then, perhaps if I could arrange to call Scotland Yard early in the morning.
No, Mr. Hannay. It simply has to be tonight.
Then I knew who he was.
Come on! Come on!
The young dark man leaped from the window. He threw it over the low fence and down the steps before a hand could reach him. Someone switched on the light. The plump one was lying crumpled in a heap. They'd got handcuffs on the old man.
He's safe. You can't follow him in time. He's gone on the yacht. He has triumphed.
Black Stone has triumphed.
I hope he'll bear his triumph well, Mr. Appleton. I ought to tell you that your yacht for the last 2 hours has been in our hands. Well, Sir Walter, that's about all there is to it. That's the story. You asked me to set it down. You know the rest of it better than I do. Godo was right about the war, right, wasn't he? In about a week, I expected right in the middle of it myself. Because of my Matabidi experience, I got a captain's commission straight off. I joined my division on Thursday at Aldershot, and I understand we'll be moving straight up the front. Still, I'm afraid I had most of my excitement before I put on khaki. Anyway, goodbye, and thanks for everything. Great sport while it lasted. Yours, very sincerely, Richard Hannay, August 8, 1914.
Tonight, the Columbia Network has brought you Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in 39 steps by John Buchan. We now present the star and director of these broadcasts, who tonight played Richard Hannay, Orson Welles.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed Madeline Carroll in our SAG version of 39 Steps, the young lady in the movie, in common with almost everything else in that movie, was the child of its director's own unparalleled and unpredictable fancy. If you missed anything, you must blame Mr. Alfred Hitchcock. If you were surprised by anything, you must blame us. Well, next week, the Mercury Theater, by way of an experiment, attempts a radio anthology of short stories. Until then, good night, everybody, goodbye, and see you next week.
The Mercury Theater on the air. No theatrical organization has done more in recent years to stimulate interest in the American stage than the Mercury Theater, whose outstanding productions of last winter under the direction of Orson Welles were the sensation of the theatrical season. Julius Caesar in Modern Dress, The Shoemaker's Holiday, Mark Blitzstein's The Cradle Will Rock, Bernard Shaw's Heartbreak House proved to the public the vitality and genius of this new organization. This summer, the Columbia Network introduced Orson Welles and his company for the first time to radio. And tonight we present the Mercury Theater on the air in the fifth broadcast of its unique new series, dramatizing famous narratives by great authors. CBS again welcomes Mr. Welles and his associates to Columbia stations and to the stations of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And here is Orson Welles to tell you about these stories himself. Mr. Welles.
Good evening. Tonight, as you were duly warned last week, we are trying out something altogether new. We're telling 3 stories instead of 1. 3 short stories instead of a single long one. Stories about love and ghosts and horse races. 3 stories in the first person singular about young people for grown-ups. I'm a Fool by Sherwood Anderson is the first of the 3. It began at 3 o'clock one October afternoon. As I sat in the grandstand at the fall trotting and pacing meet, Sandusky, Ohio. It was a good heart jolt for me, and it all came about through my own foolishness, too. Summer before, I'd left my hometown with a fellow called Bert French with 2 horses that was campaigning through the race meets that year. Gee, it was fun. We had Bucephalus, a big black pacing stallion that could do 209 or 210 if he had to, and a little gelding called Dr. Fritz that never lost a race all fall, and Bert wanted him to win. Gee whiz, it was fun. You got to a county seat town, maybe say on a Saturday or Sunday, and the fair began the next Tuesday, and you took your horses to the track and fed them and got your good clothes out of a box and put them on, and the town was full of farmers gaping because they could see you were horse race people, and you went into a saloon, the 2 of you, Bert and I, and all the dudes came and stood around asking questions, and all you did was to lie, and lie all you could about what horses you had, and I said I owned them, and then some fella'd ask us to have a drink of whiskey with him, and Bert'd lead him on.
What was that you said, sir?
I asked you, gentlemen, if you'd have a drink with me.
Oh, well, all right. I'm agreeable to a little nip. Tell you what I'll do, sir. I'll split a quart with you. All right.
Gee whiz. That isn't what I want to tell my story about. We got home late November, and I promised Mother I'd quit the races for good. There's a lot of things you gotta promise a mother because you don't know any better. I got a job driving a laundry van, and then, as I started to tell you, the fall race came to Sandusky. I got the day off, and I went. Had on my good clothes and my new-bound derby hat and a stand-up collar. And I had $40 in my pocket and 3 25-cent cigars and a drink of whiskey inside me that was bought me at the West House by a fellow with a cane and a Windsor tie. Gee, it was fun being on a track again.
George, George, here, man, down, get the man down, right, right. What are you doing for Flanagan? 5-2, Flanagan, 5-2, no,
I looked around for Bert French, and there he was, standing around with his horses. Hello, Bert.
Why, hello, Joe.
How you been, Bert?
Never better. See, you got any money, Joe?
Sure.
How'd you like to watch it grow?
Like it fine, Bert.
All right, come over here, then. I'll tell you something. Listen, Joe. In the second race, the 218 pace, there's a horse I'm handling, Abdul Ben Hamid. There he is, number 7. That gelding's as fast as a streak, Joe. Belongs to a fellow called Mather in Marietta, Ohio. We got him marked at 221, but he can step in 08.
Gee.
In the first heat, don't you touch him. He'll go round like an oxen hitched to a plow. After that, you go right down and lay on your pile.
Well, thanks, Bert, a lot. Have a cigar?
Why, thanks, Joe.
Well, sir, I went and bought myself the best seat I could get right in the grandstand. I didn't go in for any of those boxes. Well, that's putting on too many years. Well, right in front of me in the grandstand that day, right in front, there was a fellow with a couple of girls. And they was about my age. The young fellow was a nice guy, all right. He had his sister with him and another girl, and the sister looked around over his shoulder, accidentally at first, not intending to start anything. She wasn't that kind. And her eyes and mine happened to meet. You know how it is. Gee, she was a peach. She had on a soft dress, kind of blue stuff, and I blushed when she looked right at me, and so did she. She was the nicest girl I ever seen in my life. She wasn't stuck on herself, and she could talk, proper grammar without being like a school teacher or something like that. What I mean is, she was okay. And then, pretty soon the horses came out for the 218 pace, and there was Bert's horse in among the rest.
What have we bet on this time?
What do you say? You know as much about it as I do.
What about the brown one there with the long tail?
Hank, ma'am. That mare couldn't beat a streetcar. Well, they looked up kind of surprised. But they didn't seem mad. Anyway, I'd done it now, and I might as well go on. There's a horse in this race, number 7, that's as fast as streak. Abdul Ben Hamid.
Is that a horse's name?
That's right. Abdul Ben Hamid. But look, don't you go letting on this first heat, because... Don't bet on him, because he'll pace it like a lame cow. You see if he don't. But when the first heat is over, go right down, lay a pile on Abdul Ben Hamid. He'll come right out and skin him alive.
Will he really?
That's the dope. Well, that's what I told her. Gee, you should have seen the way they looked at me. And then you know what she did? Gee whiz. She asked this man that was with her, Wilbur. Well, she asked him, and there was a fat man sitting beside the little girl that had looked at me twice by this time, and I had heard both blushing, and what did that young fellow do but have the nerve to turn and ask the fat man to get up and change places with me so I could sit with his crowd?
I want you to meet Miss Eleanor Woodbury.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is my sister, Lucy Wesson. My name's Wilbur.
I suppose it was their having such swell names. Got me off my trolley, and then that girl. You know how a fella is. Something that kind of nice clothes and the kind of nice eyes she had and the way she looked at me a while before over her brother's shoulder and me looking back at her and both of us blushing. I couldn't show her up for a boob, could I? I made a fool of myself, that's what I did. Glad to know you all. My name's Walter Mathis.
How do you do, Mr. Mason?
From Marietta, Ohio. Have a cigar, Wilbur?
Thanks.
And you really think this horse is going to win, Mr. Mason?
Then I told him all the smashingest lie you ever heard. I said my father owned this horse. You know, Boo Ben Adam. It was supposed to be a secret because our family was proud and never gone in for racing that way. Abdul Ben Hamid, I mean. Here's what I think of that horse, Wilbur. Will you do me the favor when you go down to place these 30 bills on Abdul Ben Hamid at whatever odds you can get? Just about then, the bell for the first heat come off, and sure enough, Abdul Ben Hamid went off his stride up the back stretch and looked like a wooden horse or a sick one, came in to be last. See, folks, what'd I tell you? Like a lame cow.
You certainly were right, Mr. Mather.
Then this Wilmer Weston went down to the betting place under the grandstand, and this Miss Woodbury with him, and Lucy Weston and I was left alone together, like on a desert island.
Butter popcorn, crisp, and strawberry mine. Butter popcorn, crisp, and strawberry mine. Fresh salad, butter popcorn.
Gee, Miss Lucy. Gee, I'd like to show you our place down in Marietta. It's on a hill, a great old red brick house with the stables behind it, way up on a hill, up above the Ohio River.
I like rivers.
Her eyes were shining, and then she kind of, with her shoulder, you know, kind of touched me. Not just tucking down. I don't mean that. You know how a woman can do. They get close, but not getting gay either. You know what they do. Gee whiz, I begin to wish I was on the square with her and to see what a fool I'd been, but there wasn't any way of getting myself on the square now. There ain't any Walter Mathers, like I said to her, and there ain't ever been one, but if there was, I bet I'd go to Marietta, Ohio, and shoot him tomorrow. And then Wilbur Weston came back with Miss Woodbury, and he'd gone and bet $50 on his horse, and the girls had gone put in $10 each of their own money, too. Gee, I was sick then, but came out okay. Then Adam stepped the next 3 weeks like a bushel of spoiled eggs going to market before they could be found out. There he goes!
Look at him, Mr. Mathers. Look at him coming up.
Abdul Ben Hamid.
No, he's third.
There he is. He's coming up. Abdul Ben Hamid.
Second, oh, Mr. Mathers is going to win. He's going to win. He's winning. He's winning.
Well, we all got 9-2 for our money. After the race, we had a hack downtown, and Wilbur stood us a swell supper at the West House and a bottle of champagne besides, and there was I with that girl, big boot that I am. She wasn't saying much, and I wasn't saying much either. One thing I know. She wasn't stuck on me because of the lie about my father being rich and all that. There's a way, you know. Craps almighty, there's a kind of girl you see just once in your life, and you don't get busy and make hay, then you're gone for good, and all you might just as well go jump off a bridge, because what it means is you want that girl to be your wife, and you want nice things around her, like nice flowers and swell clothes, and you want her to have the kids you're going to have. You want good music played and not ragtime. Gee whiz. Well, there's a place over near Sandusky across a kind of bay, and it's called Cedar Point, and after we'd had supper, we went over to it in a launch. Just the 4 of us. By ourselves.
What time does the train leave, Wilbur?
10:40.
And is that the last train?
Yeah, that's the last train.
Oh, Shaw.
Well, over at Cedar Point, we didn't stay around where there was a gang of common cattle at all. The big dance halls and dining places for yaps, and there was a beach you could walk along and get where it was dark. We went there. She didn't talk hardly at all. And neither did I. I was thinking how glad I was my mother was all right. Always made us kids learn to eat with a fork at table and not spill soup and not be noisy and rough like a gang you see around a racetrack, you know, that way.
Hey, Lucy! Lucy, we're going up the beach a ways. Are you coming? Go on ahead. We'll wait for you here. I feel kind of tired, don't you?
Yeah. I guess so. Miss Lucy?
Why don't we sit down a while? It's nice here.
Lucy and I sat down in a dark place where there was some roots, old trees, and the water had washed up.
Feel that wood, how smooth it is. It's like silk.
Yeah. And there was a watery smell. And the night was like as if you could put your hand out and feel it. So warm and soft and dark and sweet, like an orange. After that, the time till we had to go back in the launch and they had to catch their train wasn't nothing at all. It went like winking your eyes.
Lucy! Lucy, it's nearly 10.
Lucy!
I've got to go. We've got to go to the train now. Will you kiss me goodbye?
She was most crying then. But she never knew nothing I knew. She couldn't be so all busted up as I was. Gee whiz. Sometimes I hope I have cancer and die. Guess you know what I mean. We went in a launch across the bay to the train like that. And it was dark, too.
What are you thinking about?
Gee, what? Only she knew.
You know what I was thinking?
What?
I was thinking you and I could get out of this boat right this minute and walk on the water.
Sounded foolish, all right. But I knew what she meant. Quick. We were right at the depot. There was a big gang of yaps crowded, milling around like cattle, and how could I tell her?
It won't be long because you'll write and I'll answer you.
I ain't got a chance like a hay barn afire. A swell chance I got to answer her. Yeah, maybe she'd write me down at Marietta that way, and the letter'd come back. And stamped on the front of it by the USA, there ain't any such guy. Or something like that. Ever they stamp on a letter that way.
Bye, Walter. Thanks for the tip-off. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye. When that train went, I busted out and cried like a kid. Gee, I could have run after that train and made man of war look like a freight train after a wreck, but socks almighty. What's the use? Did you ever see such a fool? Me trying to pass myself off for a big bug and a swell. To her. Did you ever see such a fool? I'll bet you what. If I had an arm broke right now or a train had run over my foot, I wouldn't go to no doctor at all. I'd go sit down, let it hurt and hurt. That's what I'd do, big fool that I am. I'll bet you what. I bet you if I hadn't drunk that booze, I never been such a boob as to go tell such a lie. A lie that couldn't ever be made straight to a lady like her. I wish I had that fellow right here that bought me that drink. I'd smash him for fair gosh darn his eyes. He's a big fool, that's what he is. If I'm not another, you just go and find me one and I'll quit working and be a bum, give him my job. I don't care for working and earning and saving it for no such boob as myself.
The second story of tonight's program by Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater is The Open Window by Saki.
My name is Frampton Nuttall. I am a very nervous man. The doctors are not entirely in agreement in the matter of my diet. They have agreed to a man in ordering me complete rest, an absence of mental excitement, an avoidance of anything in the nature of violent physical exercise. It was the doctor's idea that I should go to the country for a week for my health. But it was my sister, Matilda Nuttall, who insisted on Mole Barrington.
I know how it'll be, Frampton. You will bury yourself down there and not speak to a living soul, and your nerves will be worse than ever from moping.
I'm not given to moping, Matilda.
Oh, yes, you are, Frampton. I shall give you letters to all the people I know in Mole Barrington. Some of them, as far as I can remember, are quite nice. You will call on them.
That is how I came to visit Mrs. Sappleton.
Hello.
I would like to see Mrs. Sappleton.
My name is Frampton Nuttall.
Really?
I have a letter to Mrs. Sappleton from my sister.
I see. Won't you come in and sit down?
I was led into the drawing room by a young lady of about 15, with unnaturally long legs, a great many freckles on her face, and gray eyes.
I'll tell my aunt you're here. What did you say your name was?
Nuttall. Frampton Nuttall.
I'll tell my aunt, Mr. Nuttall.
I wondered whether Mrs. Sappleton was in the married or widowed state. An indefinable something about the room seemed to suggest masculine habitation. A large French window opened on the garden. Through it I could see a well-kept lawn, and beyond that the darker green of the fens. The scene was delightfully peaceful.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nuttall. My aunt will be down presently. In the meantime, you must try and put up with me.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Nuttall?
Yes?
Do you know many of the people around here?
Not a soul. My sister was staying here at the rectory, some 4 years ago, and she gave me letters of introduction to some of the people here.
Then you know practically nothing about my aunt, Mr. Nuttall?
Only her name and address.
Oh. My aunt's great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. 3 years ago. That would be since your sister's day.
Her tragedy?
Yes. We try not to talk about it. You may wonder why we keep that window open on an October afternoon.
Why, it's quite warm for the time of year.
That's not why we keep it open, Mr. Nuttall.
It hasn't anything to do with the tragedy, has it?
Yes, it has, Mr. Nuttall. Out through that window, 3 years ago today, my aunt's husband and the 2 young brothers went off for their day's shooting. They never came back. In crossing the moor to their favorite snipe shooting ground, they were all 3 engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. It had been that dreadful wet summer, in places that were safe in other years, gave way suddenly without warning. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part of it.
Oh.
Poor aunt always thinks they'll come back someday. They and the little brown spaniel that was lost with them. And walk in at that window just as they used to do. That is why the window's kept open every evening till it is quite dusk.
Oh.
Poor dear aunt. She often told me how they went out. Her husband with his white waterproof coat over his arm. And Ronnie, her youngest brother, singing, Bertie, why do you bound like this? I said, Bertie, why do you bound? As he always did to tease her, because she said it got on her nerves. Do you know, sometimes on still, quiet evenings like this, I almost get a creepy feeling that they'll all walk in through that window.
It was a relief when Mrs. Sappleton came into the room.
Oh, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Nuttall. I do hope Vera has been amusing you.
She has been very interesting.
It's so nice of you to come and see us, Mr. Nuttall. I do hope you don't mind the open window.
Why, no. Open window? No.
My husband and brothers will be home directly from hunting, and they always come in this way. They've been out for snipe in the marshes today, so they make a fine mess over my poor carpet. So like you men folk, isn't it? Do you hunt, Mr. Nuttall?
It was horrible the way the poor woman's mind dwelt on the topic of hunting. I looked up and the girl's eyes caught mine. She shook her head sadly. I tried desperately to change the subject. I told her that I was in Mole Barrington for my health. But I was conscious that Mrs. Sappleton was giving me only a fraction of her attention, and her eyes were constantly staring past me to the open window and the lawn beyond. Then, suddenly, I saw her stiffen. She was staring at the window.
Here they are. Here they are now, just in time for tea.
I turned toward the niece. The child was staring through the open window with dazed horror in her eyes. I turned and looked in the same direction. In the deepening twilight, 3 figures were walking across the lawn toward the window. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of them carried a white waterproof coat hung over his shoulders. A tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. Noiselessly, they neared the house. Oh, good heavens.
Oh, good heavens! Help! Help!
Lucy, who on earth was that bolted up the drive as we came in?
That was Mr. Nuttall. I can't imagine what came over him.
I expect it was a spaniel that did it. Mr. Nuttall told me he had a horror of dogs.
Vera?
Yes, Aunt Lucy.
Vera, what did you say to Mr. Nuttall before I came into the room?
Nothing, Aunt Lucy. Mr. Nuttall did all the talking. I didn't say anything. He told me the strangest thing. He was once hunted into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of pariah dogs and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creature snarling and grinning and foaming just above his head. Enough to make anyone lose their nerve, Aunt Lucy.
You are listening to the Columbia Network's presentation of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater in 3 famous short stories. You have just heard the first 2 of these, I'm a Fool and The Open Window. We will present the third story in a moment. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Columbia Network is presenting 3 famous short stories. And now the Mercury Theater and Orson Welles resume with My Little Boy by Carl Ewald.
My little boy is beginning to live. Carefully, stumbling now and then on his little knock-kneed legs, he makes his way through the world, looks at everything that there is to look at, and bites at every apple, both those that are his due and those which are forbidden him. He is not a pretty child, but he is charming. His face can light up suddenly and become radiant. He can look at you with quite cold eyes. He has a strong intuition, and he is incorruptible. He has never yet bartered a kiss for candy. He has bad habits, too. He is apt, for instance, suddenly and without the slightest reason, to go up to people whom he meets in the street and hit them with his little stick. What is in his mind when he does so, I do not know. And so long as he does not hit me, it remains a matter between himself and the people concerned. He has an odd trick of seizing his words in a grown-up conversation, storing them for a while, and then asking me for an explanation.
Father?
Yes?
What is life?
I give him a tap on his little stomach and roll him over on the carpet and conceal my emotion under a mighty tussle. Later, when we're sitting together, breathless and tired, I give him his answer. Life is delightful, my little boy. Don't you be afraid of it. My little boy is given a penny by Mary, the cook, with instructions to go to the baker's and buy some biscuits. I stand at my window and see him cross the street in his slow way and with bent head. Only he goes slower than usual with his head bent more deeply between his small shoulders. He stands long outside the baker's window, where there is a confused heap of lollipops and chocolates and sugar sticks. Then he lifts his hand, opens the door, disappears, and presently returns with a paper bag, eating with all his might. And I, who, heaven be praised, have myself been a thief in my time, go all over the house and give my orders. My little boy enters the kitchen.
Put the biscuits on the table.
He stands still for a moment and looks at Mary and at the table and at the floor. Then he goes into the living room where his mother is sitting.
You're quite a big boy now that you can buy biscuits for Mary.
His face is very long. He says nothing. He comes quietly to me, sits on the edge of a chair.
Hello.
Hello. You've been over the way at the baker's. What'd you buy at the baker's?
Lollipops?
Oh, well, I never. What fun. I had some lollipops this morning. Who gave you the money this time?
Mary.
Really? Well, Mary is certainly fond of you, isn't she? Remember the lovely ball she gave you for your birthday?
Father. Mary told me to buy a penny's worth of biscuits.
Oh, dear. It's very quiet in the room. My little boy cries bitterly, and I look anxiously before me and stroke his hair. Well, you fooled Mary badly. She needs those biscuits, of course, for cooking. She thinks they're on the kitchen table, and when she goes to look, she won't find any. Mother gave her a penny for biscuits. Mary gave you a penny for biscuits, and you go and spend it on lollipops. What are we going to do? If only we had a penny, then you could rush across the street and fetch the biscuits.
Father, there's a penny on Mother's writing table.
Oh, is there really? Oh, no, I'm afraid that's no use to us, my little boy. That penny belongs to Mother. The other was Mary's. People are so terribly fond of their money and get so angry when you take it from them. I can understand that, for you can buy such an awful lot of things with money. You can get biscuits and lollipops and toys and clothes and half the things in the world. And it's not so easy to make money either. Now, Mary, she has to spend the whole day cleaning rooms and cooking dinner and washing up before she gets her wages. And out of that, she has to buy clothes and shoes. And you know she has a little girl whom she has to pay for at Mrs. Olson's. She must certainly have saved very cleverly before she managed to buy you that ball for your birthday.
Father, haven't you got a penny?
Here's my purse. Look for yourself. Not a penny in it. Spent the last this morning. We walk up and down. We sit down and get up and walk about again. We're very gloomy. We're bowed down with sorrow and look at each other with great perplexity. There might be one hidden away in a drawer somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Only we could find a penny.
Oh, here's one. Hooray. Look, Father. A penny.
Hooray!
It's a penny.
Hurry now. You go this way through my door. Then run back quickly up the kitchen stairs with the biscuits and put them on the table. I'll call Mary so that she doesn't see. We won't tell anybody. He's down the stairs before I've done talking. I run after him. Hey there! Hey! Wasn't it a splendid thing we found that penny?
Oh, yes.
And he laughs for happiness. And I laugh too. His legs go like drumsticks across to the baker's. From my window, I see him come back, running with red cheeks and glad eyes. He's committed his first crime. He's understood it. He has not the sting of remorse in his soul, nor the black badge of forgiveness on his cap. The mother of my little boy and I sit until late at night talking about money, which seems to us the most difficult matter of all. For our little boy must learn to know the power of money and the glamour of money and the joy of money. He must earn much money and spend much money.
Yet there were two people yesterday who killed a man to rob him of $4.37.
My little boy is engaged to be married. She's a big, large-limbed young woman, 3 years his senior. Her name is Gertie. By a misunderstanding, however, which is pardonable at his age and, moreover, quite explained by Gertie's appearance, he calls her Dirty. Little Dirty, and by this name she will be handed down to history.
I want a girl for myself.
Quite right, my boy. Either I know very little of mankind, or he has made a fortunate choice. No one is likely to take Dirty from him. Like the gentleman that he is, he at once brings the girl home to us and introduces her. Owing to the formality of the occasion, he does not go by the kitchen way as usual, but rings the front doorbell. I open the door myself. There he stands on the mat,
hat in hand, with Dirty his bride and with radiant eyes.
Father, this is little Dirty. She's my sweetheart. We're going to be married.
That's what people usually do with their sweethearts. Come in, Dirty, and be welcomed by the family.
Wipe your feet, Dirty.
The mother of my little boy doesn't think much of the match.
Why, she's a perfectly dreadful little thing. I have a good mind not to let her in the house.
We can't do that. I'm not in ecstasies over her either, but it's not at all certain that it will last.
Yes, but...
Do you remember what little use it was when your mother forbade me the house? We used to meet in the most incredible places and kiss each other terribly. I can quite understand that you've forgotten, but you ought to bear it in mind now that your son's beginning.
My dear.
Besides, I must remind you that it is spring, and so Dirty is accepted. But when she calls, she is first to undergo a short quarantine, while the mother of my little boy washes her and combs her hair thoroughly. Dirty doesn't like this, but the boy does. He looks on with extraordinary eagerness.
No. Look, Mother, look. There's a place you haven't washed.
There's a good deal of cruelty in love. He himself hates to be washed, or perhaps it is merely his sense of duty. Last Friday, in cold blood, he allowed Dirty to wait outside on the step for half an hour until his mother came home. Another of his joys is to see Dirty eat. I can quite understand that. Here is something worth looking at. The mother of my little boy and I would be glad, too, to watch her if there were any chance of giving Dirty her fill. But there is none. At least not with my income. When I see all that food disappear without as much as a shade of satisfaction coming into her eyes, I tremble for the young couple's future. But he is cheerful and unconcerned. My little boy and I have had a very interesting walk in the park. There was a mouse which was irresistible. There were 2 sparrows, husband and wife, who built their nest right before our eyes, and a snail which had no secrets for us. And there were flowers, yellow and white and green leaves, which told us the oddest adventures. Now we are sitting on a bench, digesting our impressions.
What was that?
Oh, that was the lion in the zoo.
What's the zoo, Father?
The zoo, my boy, is a horrid place where they lock up wild beasts who've done no wrong. Animals who are accustomed to walk about freely in far-off countries where they come from. The lion is there. You just heard him roaring. He's so strong that he can kill a policeman with one blow of his paw. He has great haughty eyes and awfully sharp teeth. They caught him one day in a trap, tied him with ropes and dragged him here and locked him in a cage with iron bars to it. The cage is about half the size of the kitchen at home. And there the king walks up and down, and gnashes his teeth with sorrow and rage and roars so that you can hear him miles away. And outside his cage stand curious people who laugh at him because he can't get out, and eat them up, and poke their sticks through the rails and tease him.
Would he eat them up if he got out?
In a moment.
He can't get out, can he, Father?
No. That's awfully sad. He can't get out.
Well, Father, let's go and look at the lion.
I pretend not to hear. I go on to tell him of the strange birds there. Great eagles that used to fly over church steeples and over the highest trees and mountains. Now they are sitting in cages on a perch like canaries with clipped wings and blind eyes. I tell him of gulls which used to fly all day long over the stormy sea. Now they splash about in a puddle of water, screaming pitifully. I tell him of wonderful blue and red birds, which in their youth used to live among wonderful red and blue flowers in forests 1,000 times bigger than this park. Now they sit there in very small cages and hang their beaks while they stare at tiresome boys in dark blue suits and black stockings and rubbers and sailor hats.
Are these birds really blue?
Sky blue and utterly broken-hearted.
Father, can't we go and look at the birds?
I don't think we will. Why should more silly boys go and look at them? You can't imagine how it goes to one's heart to look at those poor captive birds.
Father, I should so much like to go to the zoo.
Take my advice and don't. The animals there are not the real animals you see. They are ill and ugly and angry because of their captivity, and their longing and their pain.
But I should like so much to see them.
Now, let me tell you something. To go to the zoo costs 5 cents for you and 10 cents for me. That makes 15 cents altogether. That's an awful lot of money. We won't go there now, but we'll buy the biggest money box we can find. One of those money boxes shaped like a pig. Then we'll put 15 cents in it, and every Thursday we'll put 15 cents in the pig. By and by, that'll grow to be quite a fortune. Such a fortune that when you're grown up, you can take a trip to Africa yourself and to the desert and hear the wild, the real lion roaring and tremble just like the people tremble down there.
Father, I'd rather go to the zoo now.
Shall we go and have some ice cream at Josty's?
I'd rather go to the zoo.
You're not going to the zoo. Now we'll go home. And home we go, but we're not in a good temper. Of course, I get over it and buy him an enormous money box pig. We put the money into it, and he thinks that most interesting. But later in the afternoon, I find him in the nursery, engaged in a piteous game. He has built a cage in which he has imprisoned the pig. He is teasing it and hitting it with his whip.
You can't get out and bite me, you stupid pig. You can't get out, do you hear? You can't get out. You can't get out.
Dirty is paying us a visit, and my little boy is sitting at her feet. She has buried her fingers in her hair and is reading. Reading.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant.
The boy watches her with tender compassion. And he comes to me.
Father, must Dirty do all the 10 Commandments say?
Yes?
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Father, when I grow big, must I do all the 10 Commandments say?
Yes?
Father, do you do all the 10 Commandments say?
Yes?
Well, Father, I don't believe that I can do all those things that the 10 Commandments say.
There is a great hullabaloo among the children in the courtyard. I hear them shouting something, and I go to the window and see my little boy in the front rank of the ruffians screaming, fighting with clenched fists, without his cap. I know that he'll come up before long and tell me about it. Presently he appears. He stands still, as is his way, by my side. Says nothing. I steal a glance at him. He's greatly excited and proud and glad, like one who has fearlessly done his duty. Well, what fun you've been having down there.
Oh, it was a Jewish boy we were beating up.
What? A Jewish boy? Are you beating him up?
Yes.
What had he done?
Nothing.
He seems puzzled. I look so queer suddenly. Now I snatch my hat and run out of the door as fast as I can. Come! We must find this Jewish boy and beg his pardon. My little boy hurries after me. He does not understand a word of it, but he is terribly in earnest. What's his name?
Nathan.
Nathan! Nathan! There's nobody in the courtyard. We go out in the street. Nathan! All in vain. The Jewish boy and his persecutors are blown away into space. So we go and sit up in my room again. Well, nothing to be done now.
Hope you'll meet that Jewish boy someday so that you can give him your hand and ask him to forgive you. You must tell him that you did it only because you were stupid. But if another time anyone does him any harm, I hope you'll go in and help him and beat up the other fellow as long as you can move a limb.
Yes,
I can see by my little boy's face that he is ready to do what I wish. So now I have to explain. Now, let me tell you. The Jews are by way of being quite a wonderful people. You remember David, about whom Dirty reads at school? He was a Jewish boy. And the child Jesus, whom everybody worships and loves, although he died 2,000 years ago. He was a Jew, too. My little boy stands with his arms on my knee. Now, the old Hebrews rise before us in all their splendor and power. They ride on their camels in coats of many colors and with long beards. Moses and Joseph and his brethren, and Samson and David and Saul. We hear wonderful stories. The walls of Jericho fall at the sound of the trumpet.
And what next? Go on, Father, go on.
The whole day is devoted to Jews. We learn that many of the most famous men in the world are Jews. And when evening comes, and Mother sits down at the piano and sings the song which Father loves above all other songs, it appears that the words were written by one Jew and the melody composed by another. My little boy is hot and red when he falls asleep that night. He turns restlessly in his bed and talks in his sleep.
He's a little feverish tonight.
We're spending the summer in the country. A long way out where the real country is. Cows and horses, pigs and sheep, a beautiful dog and hens and ducks form our circle of acquaintances. The sun burns us. We eat like farmhands, sleep like guinea pigs, and wake like larks. Presently, for better or worse, we get neighbors. They're regular city people. The pearl of the family is Erna. Erna is 5 years old. Her very small face is pale green, with watery blue eyes and yellow curls. She is richly and gaily dressed in a broad and slovenly sash, a daintily embroidered dress, short open-work socks, and patent leather shoes. I at once perceived that my little boy's eyes have seen a woman. Altogether, there's no doubt as to the condition of his heart. One morning, he proposes. He's sitting with his beloved on the lawn. Close to them, her aunt is nursing her rheumatism under a red parasol. Up in the balcony above, I sit, like Providence, and see everything, myself unseen.
Nana, you shall be my sweetheart. I have a sweetheart already at home. Her name is Dirty.
This communication naturally by no means lowers Erna's suitor in her eyes, but it immediately rouses all Auntie's moral instincts.
If you have a sweetheart, you must be true to her.
But Erna's going to be my sweetheart.
Listen, child, you're a very naughty boy. If you have given this, Dirty. That's an extraordinary name. But if you've given her your word, you must keep it till you die. Otherwise, you'll never, never be happy.
My little boy understands not a word and answers not a word, but later, after lunch, he comes up to where his mother and I are sitting, puts his hands in his pockets, looks straight before him.
Father, can't you have two sweethearts?
The question comes quite unexpectedly. But at the moment, I don't know what to answer.
Well?
I pull my waistcoat down and my collar up. Yes. Yes, you can have two sweethearts. But it is wrong. It leads to more fuss and unpleasantness than you can possibly imagine.
Are you so fond of Erna?
Yes.
Do you want to marry her?
Yes.
Well, then, the thing is settled. We'll write to Dirty and give her notice. Well, there's nothing else to be done. I'll write now, and you can give the letter yourself to the postman when he comes this afternoon. If you take my advice, you'll make her a present of your boar, and she'll not be so much upset.
She can have my goldfish, too, if she likes.
Oh, excellent, excellent. We'll give her the goldfish. Then she really will have nothing in the world to complain of. My little boy goes away. But presently he returns.
Father, have you written the letter to Dirty?
Not yet, my boy. There's time enough. I shan't forget it.
Father, I'm so fond of Dirty.
She was certainly a dear little girl.
Father, I'm also so fond of Verna.
We look at each other. This is no joke. Perhaps we'd better wait with the letter till tomorrow. Or perhaps it would be best if we talk to Dirty ourselves. We get back to town. Then my eyes surprise an indescribable smile on our mother's face. All a woman's incapacity to understand man's honesty is contained within that smile. And I resent it greatly. Come. Let us go. My little boy and I go out to a place we know of, far away behind the hedge, where we lie on our back and look up at the blue sky and talk together sensibly, as two gentlemen should. My little boy is going to school. We can't keep him at home any longer, says his mother. He himself is glad to go, of course, because he doesn't know what school is. I know what it is, and I know also that there is no escape for him, but I am sick at heart. So we go for our last morning walk along the road where something wonderful has always happened to us. We sit down by the edge of our usual ditch, and suddenly my heart triumphs over my understanding. I just want to tell you that school is a horrid place. You can have no conception of what you'll have to put up with there. They will tell you that 2 and 2 are 4.
Mother's taught me that already.
Yes, but that is wrong. 2 and 2 are never 4. Only very seldom. And that's not all. You will never have any more time to play in the courtyard with Ina. When he shouts to you to come out, you'll have to sit and read about a lot of horrible old kings who've been dead for hundreds and hundreds of years, if they ever existed at all. Which, for my part, I simply don't believe. My little boy doesn't understand me. But he sees that I am sad. Puts his hand in mine.
Mother says that you must go to school to become a clever boy. Mother says that Ina is ever so much too small and stupid to go to school.
I bow my head and nod and say nothing. I take him to school. See how he gallops up the steps without so much as turning to look back at me. Here ends this story about my little boy. What more can there be to tell? He's no longer mine. I have handed him over to society.
There was nothing else to be done.
Really? Was there nothing else to be done? I wonder. Small boys have a bad time of it, you know.
They had a worse time of it in the old days.
That's poor comfort. The world is still full of parents and teachers who shake their stupid heads and turn up their old eyes and cross their flat chests with horror at the wickedness of youth. Children are so disobedient, they say, so naughty, so self-willed, and talk so disrespectfully to their elders. And what do? We who know better.
We do what we can.
She says it in such a way.
and looks at me with two such sensible eyes. They're so strong and so true that I suddenly think things quite well for our little boy. And I become quiet and cheerful like herself. Those teachers of his better look out, though. My little boy, for all I care, may take from them all the English and geography and history that he can, but they shan't throw dust in his eyes about the important things. I shall keep him awake, and we shall have great fun finding them out.
And I shall help him with his English and geography and history.
Tonight, the Columbia Network has brought you Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in dramatized versions of three famous short stories. I'm a Fool by Sherwood Anderson, The Open Window by H.H. Munro, Saki, and My Little Boy by Carl Ewald. We now present the star and director of these broadcasts, Orson Welles.
My little...